I can't. I can't run anymore. On a circular track in Westgate Park, Sebastian Westcott looked like a dying dog, tongue lolling out as he stumbled forward. Beside him, a bodyguard had a firm grip on his arm, practically dragging him along. Around them, several other guards were acting as a cheer squad. Dig deep, mister. Sebastian, you're the best. Last 5 miles. Almost there. Only 4.9 miles left. Go, sir, go. Hey, up front. Don't let him stop. Keep the pace up. Sebastian was drenched in sweat. The voices of his guards sounded less like encouragement and more like demons dragging him to hell. He honestly felt that being dead would be preferable to this. The thought that he had to endure this living hell for the next month made his hatred for Leo Evans boil over. If it weren't for Leo, he wouldn't be in this state. Leo Evans, you just wait. When I catch you, I'm making you run 60 miles a day until my heart is satisfied. Sebastian screamed internal threats while his face looked ready to expire. What he didn't know was that under a large tree in the distance, Leo Evans was watching him run while casually eating an Inferno burrito. Leo was currently wearing a different face. No one could recognize him. Damn, the Inferno burritos in NYC are legit. Authentic stuff. Leo smacked his lips, watching Sebastian in the distance. TSK. That physical conditioning is pathetic. Even Reggie the cat has more stamina. The heirs of the other major families, even Grant Gideon, would leave Sebastian in the dust. Leo knew the reason, though. When treating Sebastian, he had noticed the guy had a constitution that suggested frail health since childhood. He likely suffered a major illness as a kid. But to survive in a shark tank like NYC, you either needed power or brains. Sebastian Westcott had a net zero in both categories. Did Silas Westcott seriously never consider having a second kid? Leo shook his head, sighing. He can't honestly plan on letting this guy inherit the dynasty, right? Whatever, not my problem. I just need to figure out if the Westcott family is connected to Nick's. Leo polished off the burrito in 3 bites, tossed the wrapper into a nearby bin, clapped his hands, and stood up. He pulled out his phone. Yo, where are you? At your M. Why do you always go straight to insults? I said I'm at your mom's place. Let me finish my sentence. Apologize. Fine, I'm coming over. Apologize first, or I'm leaving. Don't be like that. We're tight. Apologize. I am sorry. Okay. My bad for cursing before you finished. Happy. Leo grunted. Wait there. I'm coming. He hung up, glanced one last time at the suffering Sebastian, and turned to leave. By 3 in the afternoon, Sebastian's legs were trembling uncontrollably as he was helped back into the Virtue Clinic. The guards looked around, but didn't see Dr. Rain. They immediately asked Marco. Where's Dr. Rain? He said he went out for a walk. What? A mister? Sebastian finished his run, but we don't know if he's allowed to sit down yet. Sebastian heard this and twisted his neck in disbelief to glare at the guard holding him up. Why the hell have you been dragging me around? You mean to tell me I need Dr. Rain's permission just to sit? Am I the young master here? Or is he? Marco found the situation hilarious but kept a straight face. Seat. It's fine. Hearing this, the guards finally felt safe enough to lower Sebastian onto a chair. Huh. Sebastian collapsed like a corpse, his body limp, gasping for air. It wasn't until sunset that Sebastian recovered slightly. Dr. Rain still hadn't returned. Dr. Rain didn't run into trouble, did he? A guard asked worriedly. If something happened to the doctor, they'd be the ones getting punished. Marco wasn't worried. If Leo was gone this long, it just meant some unlucky soul had probably caught his attention. Just as the thought crossed his mind, footsteps echoed from the entrance. Someone walked in. Dr. Rain, you're finally back. Dr. Rain glanced at the guards and nodded. Went for a stroll, walked a bit further than intended. Any issues at the clinic? None. As per your instructions, mister. Sebastian finished his 6 miles. The guard pointed at Sebastian, who was currently face down on a table, snoring. Dr. Rain walked over and slammed his hand on the table. Bang! Gah! Sebastian jumped, terrified. He was about to curse out whoever woke him when he saw Dr. Rain's face. His anger instantly evaporated. What time is it? Dr. Rain asked coolly. 6. According to the treatment plan, what happens at 6? Anaerobic training. Hearing Sebastian's answer, Dr. Rain paused for a microsecond before recovering. Then why are you staring at me? Drop and give me push-ups. Prepare the equipment. Nearby, the guards immediately brought out a barbell. Sebastian looked despondent. Is this a damn clinic? Who does anaerobic training in a medical clinic? You guys supervise him. An hour and a half. At 8 o'clock sharp, go buy spicy ramen. Rest assured, Dr. Rain, we'll watch him closely. Moments later, Sebastian's wails of agony filled the Virtue Clinic. Walking over to the counter, Marco whispered, "Leo, what did you go do?" "Dr." Rain glanced at Marco, gave a meaningful smile, but didn't speak. Marco blinked. Why did Leo feel different? He couldn't put his finger on it, but that inherent aura of chaos was still there. Evening came. The group sat around a table, happily eating spicy ramen. Sebastian devoured a massive bowl by himself. After the workout, he could have eaten a horse. Being a wealthy heir, he didn't forget to buy portions for his guards. The ramen shop probably hit its monthly sales target in one night. They didn't even make Sebastian carry it. They delivered it to the door and gave a discount. Sebastian didn't care about the savings, but he didn't refuse them. He was a rich second-generation heir, not an idiot. Why turn down a discount? As everyone ate dinner, no one noticed a figure walking slowly toward the clinic for the distant street. The figure moved with an arrogant, disjointed stride that recognized no kin. In his hand, he gripped a black steel baton. The dim street lights illuminated his delicate features, revealing the face of a pretty boy. It was Leo Evans. Leo swung the black baton, swaggering toward the clinic with exaggerated confidence. Under the night sky, the Westcott family guards noticed the approaching figure and frowned. Someone coming for a checkup this late? Just as they were about to ask, the yellow glow of the street lamp fully illuminated the figure's face. The guards stared at that pretty boy face for a second before cold sweat instantly drenched their backs. In the current landscape of NYC's power struggle, who didn't recognize that face? The demon, Leo Evans. Alert! It's Leo Evans. He's here. Instantly, guards inside and outside the clinic drew their weapons, converging at the entrance. Hearing Leo's name, Sebastian's face twisted in terror. He jumped up, scanning the room for an escape route. Marco looked bewildered. "Lau, isn't Leo sitting right next to me?" He turned to look at Dr. Rain. At that moment, Dr. Rain looked equally panicked and shouted, "Stop him! Leo must know Sebastian is here. He's coming for revenge." As the words fell, Leo's manic laughter echoed from outside. "Ha ha! Sebastian Westcott, you can hide for a moment, but you can't hide forever. Surrender quietly. You have no wings to fly away with today. You think these few people can stop me?" Leo was about to make his move when the situation abruptly changed. People armed with weapons flooded out from the surroundings, encircling him. Steward Shu walked slowly out of the crowd, a mocking expression on his face. "Ha ha ha. Didn't expect this, did you, Leo? The Patriarch anticipated you wouldn't let this go. He knew you'd try to strike at the young master again. We planted this ambush specifically to catch a rat in a trap." Leo looked displeased. "Who's the rat? I wanted to beat up this smelly butler for a while now. Might as well handle it today." Leo glanced around, sneering. "The Westcott dynasty sends this few people to catch me. There were a lot of people, sure, but catching him with just this crowd was wishful thinking. Oomph. Of course, it's not just them." Steward Shu's eyes turned dark. He waved his hand, and the guards parted to form a path. At the end of the path stood two towering figures wearing airtight steel helmets, standing as silent as statues. "Leo, I heard you the asset killer. I am curious. How many minutes can you last against the Westcott family's variants?" Leo frowned. Variants again? But these looked significantly different from the ones he'd fought before. The difference was in their aura. There was no roaring, no mindless rage. These two stood with a silence that made one's heart palpitate. It reminded Leo of a saying, "Biting dogs don't bark." Steward Shu looked at the two figures and commanded in a low voice, "Go. Kill him." Hearing the command, the two variants seemed to activate, charging violently toward Leo. These variants can understand Shu's orders. Leo quickly deduced a few things. "I see. Are these two variants the result of the Westcott family's deal with Nyx?" Before he finished speaking, a variant was already in his face, swinging a fist the size of a watermelon toward Leo's head. Leo activated all his buffs instantly, sidestepping the blow and leaping lightly behind one of them. He raised his baton, preparing to strike the back of the neck for a knockout. But his pupils constricted. The area above the variant's shoulders was completely covered by the helmet. There was no exposed neck. Seeing this, Steward Shu sneered. "We studied your methods for dealing with the experimental subjects. As long as we don't let you hit the nape of the neck, they won't be knocked out, right?" Leo frowned but still swung the baton down hard onto the helmet, trying to crack it. Clang! A powerful recoil vibrated up his arm, numbing his hand. The helmet didn't even have a dent. "Fuck! What is this thing made of? It's harder than my head." Leo cursed silently, then kicked off the variant's back to create distance. Seeing Leo struggle, Steward Shu laughed loudly. "Leo, stop struggling. That helmet is made of the hardest alloy. Even explosives wouldn't deform it. Just surrender. Inside the clinic, Sebastian watched the scene, the corners of his mouth twitching upward uncontrollably. The advantage is mine. Why run? Steward Shu, catch him alive. I want to torture him slowly. Sebastian shouted with a face that he thought looked cruel, but mostly looked desperate. I'm going to make him run. Run until he dies. Leo raised an eyebrow and looked at Sebastian from across the crowd. Kid's got big dreams. Fine. Tomorrow I'm upping your run to 12 miles. But that was a problem for tomorrow. Right now, he had to deal with the immediate threat. Leo cracked his neck and looked at Steward Shu. The Westcott family really studied me, huh? Interested in me? But it seems your research isn't thorough enough. Oomph. Death is staring you in the face, and you're still acting tough. Kill him. The two variants moved on command. They seemed annoyed that Leo had escaped the first exchange, and their attacks became sharper. Leo put one hand in his pocket, waiting calmly for them to rush him. Then, he slowly reached out a hand and placed it on the charging variant's helmet. Manifest acquisition. Skill, lucky steal. In the next second, the variant's helmet vanished from its head and appeared in Leo's hand like a magic trick. Simultaneously, Leo sidestepped to the back, aimed at the exposed neck, and swung the black baton. Whack! That feels right. The variant dropped to the ground. Before the other variant could react, Leo used the same method to knock it out. In the span of a single exchange, two powerful variants were face down in the dirt, and the helmet, made of the hardest alloy, was now being tossed casually in Leo's hand. How is that possible? Steward Shu's eyes bulged. He remembered clearly that those helmets required a fingerprint or passcode to unlock. How the hell did Leo take it off in the blink of an eye? He's hacking. He's definitely hacking. Steward Shu felt a chill pierce his heart. The variants were gone. What did they have left to fight with? Leo's combat power alone could rival a small army, and Shu had only brought a standard guard squad. He looked up, but Sebastian was nowhere to be seen, probably looking for an escape route again. Marco stood in the doorway, watching the scene blankly. He was absolutely certain the person fighting was Leo Evans. If that was the case, then who the hell was the DR? Rain standing next to him? Marco stared at the face next to him, identical to Dr. Rain's, and whispered, "Who exactly are you?" DR. Rain put a finger to his lips, signaling Marco to stay quiet. Then, he offered a slight smile and lifted the corner of his coat. A flash of silver caught the light. Marco's eyes widened. Where the coat lifted, he saw a small section of a black knife handle. A black throwing knife. Marco looked at the man in disbelief. The man met his gaze and nodded with a smile. Ethan Sia. That black handle confirmed the identity of this DR. Rain beyond a doubt. It was Ethan Sia. But why was Ethan here? And when did he disguise himself as Dr. Rain? Marco suppressed a belly full of questions and dutifully played along. Outside, Leo had already subdued the two variants and was walking towards Steward Shu. "Don't come over." Steward Shu scrambled backward, ordering guards to intercept Leo. But how could these guards stop him? Leo kicked, one flying with every step. Anyone trying to aim from a distance found Leo's bullets in their face before they could even draw their guns. It was a massacre. Steward Shu had relied entirely on the variants as his trump card, so he hadn't brought the elite forces. Leo walked up, looking at Steward Shu with amusement. "You said earlier you were going to catch a rat in a trap." Shu stammered. "Leo, you can't kill me. If you kill me, the Westcott family will never stop hunting you." "I don't want to kill you. I just want to play a game." Leo pulled a revolver out of his other pocket. "Ever play Russian roulette?" "Yeah, the one you're thinking of. I played it once before, but I forgot to unload the bullets that time, so the guy went on the first shot. I felt pretty guilty about it. So this time, I remembered to unload." Leo dumped all 6 bullets, kept one, and waved it in front of Shu's face. "I'm going to ask you a few questions. If your answers satisfy me, I won't pull the trigger. If I'm not satisfied, you get a chance to win the lottery." Leo loaded the single bullet, spun the cylinder with a snap, and grinned at Steward Shu. The muzzle aimed casually at the center of his forehead. Steward Shu felt his heart hammering against his ribs. He trembled. "Why you didn't say how many questions total? If you keep asking forever, I'm dead for sure." "Well, don't worry. Won't be too many. Let's cap it at 6. Leo smiled brightly. "First question. When did the Westcott family start collaborating with Nix?" "This. By the way, if you hesitate for more than 5 seconds, I shoot." 5, 4, 3. Wait. I remember. It should be about a month ago." Steward Shu looked at Leo in terror. Loyalty be damned. Staying alive was the priority. He spilled everything he knew. It was around the time of the first variant riot. The patriarch started acting strange, so I suspect that's when contact with Nix began. A month ago. Leo nodded. Second question, did you guys have anything to do with the variant riot the day I arrived in NYC? I really don't know. I'm just a steward. The patriarch wouldn't tell me that much. Based on what you know, take a wild guess. Yes or no? This. 543. Yes. I think yes. Leo nodded in satisfaction. It matched his suspicions. Third question, who is Nix? No. Seriously, I really don't know this one. 543. Father. Grandpa, don't ask me this. Even the patriarch doesn't know. Leo simply pulled the trigger silently. Click. No bullet. TSK. You're lucky. The last guy died on this turn. Leo praised him with a smile, but Shu couldn't smile at all. The moment the trigger clicked, he felt his heart stop. Guess you really don't know. Fourth question. Leo glanced at Sebastian in the distance, then turned back, lowering his voice. Does Silas Westcott really only have Sebastian as a son? Hearing this, Steward Shu's eyes widened in horror. W, what do you mean by that question? I'm asking you. Not the other way around. Leo's gaze turned cold. Answer the question. Yes or no? Leo asked because it was too strange. As the sole heir to the Westcott dynasty, Sebastian wasn't entirely useless, but he was close. Leo didn't believe Silas Westcott, a man of immense cunning, would hand the dynasty to a goofball like Sebastian. Moreover, Silas's attitude toward Sebastian didn't feel like a father's attitude toward son. It was as if Sebastian was dispensable. I don't know why you're asking, but I can guarantee Master Sebastian is the patriarch's only child. Steward Shu trembled. I've been with the Westcott family for years. I can state with certainty that the patriarch has no other children. Leo frowned. None. You're sure? I'm sure. At least, I haven't seen any. If the patriarch had another, could he hide it from the steward who was by his side every day? Leo nodded. That made sense. Steward Shu gasped for air, begging Mr. Evans. Now, I really don't know much more. Let me go. Cut the crap. Last question. Satisfy me, and you walk. Ask. Leo pointed at the two unconscious variants nearby. How many of these variants does the Westcott family have? Why are they different from the previous ones? How far has your research gone? He held up one finger. One question, 3 bullets. Think before you speak. Steward Shu's mouth twitched. He knew Leo wasn't that kind. Don't be nervous. Think it through, then answer one by one. Leo looked at Steward Shu with a gentle smile. We have plenty of time. Besides, with a gun to your head, your guards won't dare make a move, right? Steward Shu felt dead inside. Leo was right. Even if the family's main army arrived now, it wouldn't matter. Leo could end his life at any moment. And if he died, it was game over. Even if the Westcott family avenged him, he'd still be dead. That was a net loss for him. So, self-preservation was the only option. Rather than experimental subjects, we call them variants. Steward Shu composed himself. Compared to the monsters created by the smaller families, the 4 pillars have reached a mature stage in this field. The variants we create aren't uncontrollable beasts anymore. We've moved past using living humans as the base material. We can now use cells to cultivate variants. So, as long as the family wishes, we can create controlled variants at any time. It just costs resources. Hearing this, a rare look of gravity appeared in Leo's eyes. He hadn't expected the research of the 4 pillars to be this advanced. Does that mean you can mass-produce these so-called variants? Steward Shu blinked and looked at the gun barrel. Leo understood immediately and snapped. I won't shoot for this one. Speak. Relieved by the guarantee, Shu hurried to explain. Of course not. If we could mass-produce them, I wouldn't have brought only 2. While we have the method, the resources required for a single variant are immense. Even the Westcott family lacks the resources for mass production. As far as I know, there are currently only 9 variants within the family, numbered 1 through 9. The 2 you just defeated were number 5 and number 7. 9 variants? Leo raised an eyebrow. That was within an acceptable range. If there were 100, he'd be in trouble. His baton would break from all the bonking. Mr. Evans, anything else? Shu asked cautiously. Leo blinked. He had asked everything he needed to. Tell you what, I'll pull the trigger one more time. If you don't die, I'll let you go. Huh? What? 1 in 5 chance. What are you afraid of? No, Mr. Evans. Shu was speechless. This wasn't about probability. It was about whether his luck had run out. Stop whining. Ready? Don't. Click, the hammer fell. Still no bullet. Steward Shu nearly wet himself, gasping for air like a drowning man surfacing. Leo's mouth twitched. This guy's luck was genuinely impressive, since he wasn't one to break a promise. Take your people and go. Leo waved his hand impatiently. Scram. Steward Shu hadn't expected Leo to actually let him go. He stammered, Thank you, Mr. Evans. I'm leaving right now. He stood up to lead his men away, then paused. He saw Leo walking toward the clinic. Steward Shu froze. He'd forgotten Sebastian was still there. If he left and Sebastian died, he was dead anyway. Inner conflict raged. Finally, Shu gritted his teeth and threw away his dignity. Thud. He dove forward and hugged Leo's leg. Mr. Evans, please spare the young master. He wailed, snot and tears flowing freely. My young master has been frail and sickly since childhood. He's practically terminal. He has less than 2 months to live. Please, raise your noble hand and spare him. Leo was bewildered. This guy was flexible. Did he have no shame? Surrounded by his own guards. Wasn't he afraid of losing face? Apparently, face wasn't worth much. Boo-hoo. Mr. Evans, look, we're practically family. Please spare him. Family? My name is Evans. Your name is Shu. We aren't related. We're all humans. That's basically family. Then die for him. Boo-hoo. Wait, what? Steward Shu paused. I didn't mean that. Leo looked at him with disgust. Let go of my leg. You're wiping snot on my pants. Shu obediently let go, staring at Leo unblinkingly. Leo raised the revolver, looking fierce. There's one bullet in here. Either I give it to you, or I give it to your young master. Choose. Before Shu could answer, a shout came from the distance. Leo Evans. Leo looked over. Sebastian Westcott stood at the clinic entrance, trembling but shouting, If you have a problem, come at me. Don't touch my people. Hearing this, Steward Shu looked up with tears in his eyes, touched beyond words. Young master. Steward. Young master. Stu. Bang! Leo fired a shot into the sky, interrupting their moment. Can you show me some damn respect? Leo gritted his teeth. Are we filming a soap opera? Though annoyed, Leo could see the bond between Sebastian and Shu was genuine. Otherwise, the cowardly steward wouldn't have jumped to hug his leg, and Sebastian wouldn't have shouted despite his legs shaking. Seeing this, Leo decided it was time to wrap things up. He had conspired with Ethan Xie for this exact play to cement the fact that Dr. Rain and Leo Evans were two different people. He had considered letting Ethan play Leo, but Ethan lacked his absurd combat strength and might have botched it. So, Leo had asked his mother, a master of disguise, to create a temporary disguise for Ethan to play Dr. Rain. It wasn't easy. To make it convincing, Carol Evans had spent the entire afternoon working on Ethan's face and even gave him a voice changer. Unlike Leo, who had a literal cheat skill for disguises, Ethan had to do it the hard way. Leo shot a glance at Ethan. Ethan immediately returned a look that said, Got it. Ethan, playing the role of Dr. Rain, spoke in a deep voice. Leo Evans, that's enough. This is my clinic. My territory. I will not allow you to kill people here. Leo turned a puzzled gaze toward Dr. Rain. And who are you? I am Rain, a doctor and the owner of this clinic. Ethan spoke calmly. Sebastian is my employee. You can't touch him. Sebastian turned his head, looking at Dr. Rain with profound emotion. Dr. Rain, you... Dr. Rain gave him a reassuring look, then continued to Leo. Do me a favor. Let it go. Leo tilted his head, acting arrogant. A favor? Is your hair red? Why should I give you face? If I don't give you face, what are you going to do? Kill me. Dr. Rain shook his head solemnly. I never kill. These hands only save lives. Cough, cough. Marco suddenly started coughing. He couldn't hold it in. Watching these two Oscar-worthy actors going at it was too much. Save lives? Léo Fignet surprise. How many have you saved? Countless. I don't keep score. Dr. Rain shook his head again. Sebastian is not just my employee. He is my patient. If you insist on killing him, you'll have to step over my dead body. Rain, walk a straight path. Allowing a filthy executioner like you to murder my patient in front of me? I cannot do it. Dr. Rain looked righteous, his voice resounding with power. It felt as if the light of justice was shining directly behind him. It formed a stark contrast to Leo, who looked like a demon who murdered without blinking. Damn you, Ethan. Leo cursed internally. You made yourself look like a saint and turned my image into absolute trash. You should have rehearsed with this jerk. Now Ethan was seizing the opportunity to insult him publicly, and there was nothing Leo could do about it. Executioner, huh? Leo raised his gun, aiming at Dr. Rain. I'll give you one last chance. Move or don't move. Dr. Rain stood in front of Sebastian, staring firmly at Leo. He slowly spat out 2 words. Not moving. On the surface, he looked ready to die for his cause. Internally, he was panicking. Leo is petty as hell. He wouldn't actually shoot, right? Behind him, Sebastian was nearly in tears. He had never found Dr. Rain so agreeable to look at. Dr. Rain, maybe you should move, Sebastian said stubbornly, despite being terrified. I am the young master of the Westcott family. I'm not cowardly enough to let a doctor take a bullet for me. Marco glanced at him. Great. This kid's been completely brainwashed by the two drama kings. Leo held the gun. It wasn't a revolver anymore, but the dual Manjashaka pistols. He had agreed with Julian Reed to melt them down, but Julian had bailed halfway through, so Leo was still using them. Just as Leo prepared to pull the trigger, Dr. Rain suddenly shouted, "Wait! Those guns! Are those the Manjashaka?" Leo paused, feigning confusion. You recognize them? Dr. Rain took a deep breath. Master Silas, the gunsmith, is an old friend of mine. I recognize the weapons he crafts. You're friends with Master Silas? Leo raised an eyebrow, speaking loudly on purpose. Come to think of it, Master Silas did mention he had a doctor friend. Slowly, he lowered his hands. Fine, since you have a connection to Master Silas, I'll give you face. The day you cure Sebastian, I'll come back to kill him. By then, he won't be your patient. You won't stop me, right? Dr. Rain nodded slowly. At that time, do as you please. I won't interfere. Good. Leo laughed loudly. Rain, was it? Only because it's you. Anyone else, and I wouldn't have stopped. Sebastian, count yourself lucky. I'm letting you off this time. With that, Leo turned and walked away. The crowd parted instantly to let him pass. Only when Leo's figure completely vanished into the night did the immense pressure lift from everyone's hearts. But before they could take more than 2 breaths, Leo came back. Stuart Shu's heart leaped into his throat. Was Leo going back on his word? Sorry, folks, forgot my loot. Leo walked over to the 2 fallen variants, grabbed a wrist in each hand, and smiled at Stuart Shu. These 2 are my trophies. I can take them, right? Igrigajis. Stuart Shu swallowed hard. He didn't dare say no. Leo nodded in satisfaction and dragged the 2 variants away, disappearing once more. He planned to take these things to his dad for study. This time, the crowd stood still for a long while. Only when they were certain Leo was truly gone did they relax. Stuart Shu snapped out of it and rushed to Sebastian. Young master, are you hurt? I'm fine. Sebastian let out a long breath, then turned seriously to Dr. Rain. Dr. Rain, thank you. If not for you, we would have been in danger today. From now on, if you need anything from Sebastian Westcott, just ask. Sebastian thumped his chest, making a vow. Stuart Shu also bowed deeply to Dr. Rain in gratitude. Dr. Rain rolled his eyes at Sebastian. Not causing me trouble is the biggest help you can give me. Then he turned to Stuart Shu. Get your people out of here. Cluttering up my clinic affects business. Shu nodded hastily. Yes, I'll take them back immediately. He then turned to Sebastian. Young master, please take care of yourself. Is he going to die here or something? Scram. Dr. Rain snapped. Stuart Shu hurriedly led his people away. He had to report today's events to the Patriarch, including his conversation with Leo. He didn't know how Silas Westcott would punish him for leaking that information, but surely he wouldn't kill him. On the outskirts of NYC, inside David Evans's base of operations. Swish, swish. The sound of heavy objects being dragged echoed in the night as Leo hauled the 2 variants toward the gate. Halt! Who goes there? It's me. Mr. Lau. The gatekeeper saw Leo's face and laughed. What brings you here so late? Handled some business. Got some intel. Came to chat with my old man. I see. The gatekeeper nodded, smiling, but didn't open the gate yet. Instead, he asked casually, Mr. Leo, the kitchen made beef with cilantro today. Your favorite. Want some? Leo rolled his eyes. Cut the testing. It's not an imposter. I hate cilantro. Hearing this, the guard laughed awkwardly and scratched his head. Gotta be vigilant these days. Don't take offense, Mr. Lau. Then he noticed the bodies behind Leo. And these are 2 variant from the Westcott family. Pick them up off the street. Only you, Mr. Lau. The guard sucked in a breath. Pick them up? You're right. Currently, only Leo Evans could solo a variant in all of NYC. Before, it was just rumors. Seeing the proof was terrifying. Go on in. Boss David is over there. Thanks. Leo nodded, dragging the variants in the direction indicated. He dumped them in the courtyard and pushed the door open. Inside, David Evans and his team were discussing something. Hearing the noise, David looked up. Back so soon? Yeah, got some intel. Leo sat down and relayed everything he had learned from Stuart Shu. David listened carefully, frowning occasionally. Variants? I didn't think they were this advanced already. It seems it's not just the Westcotts. The other three pillars probably have connections to Nick's too. The appearance of variance is definitely tied to Nick's. Leo nodded. That matches my thoughts. But a steward's knowledge is limited. I need to dig deeper using the DR. Rain identity. After tonight, DR. Rain's name is going to blow up in NYC. I'll use that fame to visit the Westcott Manor and chat with Silas Westcott. See what I can find. David waved his hand. You handle your end. I can't babysit you. I have my own issues. Leo scoffed. I haven't even complained yet. You gave me a clinic with unpaid rent. Do you know how expensive rent is in NYC? I know. David blinked, looking innocent. That's why I gave it to you. Renewing the lease is pricey. Leo's mouth twitched. He suddenly understood how Julian felt dealing with his father, Anthony Reed. Taking a deep breath, Leo looked around. Where's Mom? After doing your friend's makeup, she took Quinn out. David spoke calmly. The Granger Foundation has been acting strange recently. I sent her to investigate. The Grangers? Strange how? Too. Quiet. David's voice dropped. The Grangers have always been low-key, but given the current situation, they're excessively quiet. Even with the chaos you caused over the last 2 days, they haven't made a move. That's not right. Leo straightened up. You mean, I haven't caused enough chaos? Don't put words in my mouth, you little brat. David quickly corrected. You need to chill for a bit. Use the DR, Rain identity, and lay low. If Leo kept escalating, NYC would descend into total anarchy. David felt a pang of sorrow. His mission from above was to stabilize NYC. Why did it feel like they were drifting further from the goal? Blame those 4 restless old turtles. David cursed internally. If the 4 pillars weren't constantly plotting and scheming, I'd have finished this mission ages ago. Leo looked disappointed, but shrugged. He wasn't a troublemaker at heart anyway. He'd go back, switch identities with old Sia, and be a peaceful clinic owner from now on. If that's it, I'm heading back. Old Sia is waiting for me at the clinic. Leo stood up, then paused. All right, I left those 2 variants in the yard. If you have any researchers, have them take a look. What? David jumped. You brought the variants here? The others in the room gasped, sitting up straight in alarm. David cursed. You little punk. Those are dangerous weapons, and you just dump them in the yard like lawn ornaments? What if they wake up? Leo sighed. They won't. They'll be out for at least a day. I know how hard I hit. Fina, you guys go secure them. David started, then stopped. Forget it. I'll go with you. I want to see what these so-called variants are. Everyone walked out. Leo waved goodbye, not caring how they handled the bodies, and left. He didn't take a cab. Wearing a mask and hood, he walked to the vicinity of the clinic. The clinic was now surrounded by Westcott guards. Because of Leo's attack, they had doubled the security. Leo texted Ethan Sia, then found a 24-hour dive bar nearby to wait. A moment later, Rain appeared at the clinic entrance. DR, Rain, heading out? A guard asked respectfully. Ethan, as Rain stretched. Yeah, can't sleep. Going for a drink. We'll send someone to escort. No need. I'm going alone. It's close. Seeing the guard hesitate, Rain added, if I run into Leo Evans, you guys can't save me anyway. Besides, Leo said he wouldn't kill me. The guard conceded. Be careful. If anything happens, shout. We'll come running. Rain nodded and headed toward the bar. Before long, Ethan walked into the bar Leo had indicated. As soon as he entered, he saw a hooded man in the corner waving at him. Ethan sat opposite him. Leo was drinking juice. Is your brain okay? Coming to a bar to drink juice. What's wrong with juice? Not like you're paying. Leo crossed his legs, chewing on the straw. Weren't followed. You've doubted my skills? I'm doubting your intelligence. They started bickering immediately. It was hard to imagine these two had just pulled off an award-winning performance. Ethan flipped Leo the bird. Order me a screwdriver. A what? Screwdriver. It's a cocktail, you hillbilly. Just tell the bartender. Ethan mocked him mercilessly. Leo stood up silently and went to the bar. Minutes later, he returned and placed a glass of orange juice in front of Ethan. Ethan, are you sick? I don't want orange juice. You're high maintenance. You get used to being the young master at the Sierra State. Is this me being high maintenance? You're messing with me on purpose. Leo waved his hand. Don't sweat the details. Talk business. Here, have a straw. Leo helpfully put a straw in Ethan's juice. Ethan's mouth twitched. He suppressed the urge to fight Leo right there and took a sip. The two of them sat in a dive bar, sipping soft drinks through straws. If the place wasn't empty, they'd have been the center of attention. After a long silence, Leo spoke first. I ran into Lucia Shang at the airport a few days ago. You saw her. Ethan leaned in. How is she? Seemed fine. Based on her condition, The Shang family isn't hurting her. Ethan sighed in relief. That's good. Whatever, can't contact her. I could before, but after the Shang family took her, I lost contact. Need help? No, do not help me. Ethan waved his hands frantically. I'm sticking to the plan, low profile. I might be able to rescue Lucia and my father-in-law. If you get involved, whether as Dr. Rain or Leo Evans, low profile goes out the window. Plus, if you join in, things will definitely blow up. Just don't. Leo felt speechless. I've really changed. I'm very low-key now. Low-key? Heh. Who was playing Russian roulette on the street just now? That was then. This is now. Ethan didn't want to argue. Anyway, don't interfere. If I really get stuck, I'll find you. Fine. Whatever makes you happy. Leo nodded, then pulled a black mask from his pocket and tossed it to Ethan. Put on. Don't let anyone see your face. I am Dr. Rain now. Take your clothes off. Switch. Ethan caught the mask. How do I change my face back? Go find my mom. She did it. Let her fix it. Your family's after-sales service sucks. Be glad you get service at all. Anyone else, she'd block their number. Ethan glared at Leo, downed his orange juice in one breath, and stood up. They swapped jackets. Their builds were similar, and Leo had told Ethan to wear black pants, so the switch was seamless. Ethan put on a mask. Anything else? If not, I'm bouncing. You want to pick up the tab? Ethan flipped Leo off again and walked out without looking back. Leo watched him leave, clicked his tongue, finished his drink, and paid the bill. He rarely paid for anything, but Ethan got special treatment. Wearing Dr. Rain's face, Leo resumed his identity as the clinic owner and swaggered back toward the clinic. Walking down the street, Leo chuckled. TSK. If I acted in The Departed, I'd scam everyone blind. He returned to the clinic, greeted the guards, and went to his room to rest. Meanwhile, at the Westcott estate, Steward Shu knelt trembling before Silas Westcott, head bowed low. I am sorry, patriarch. I know I said things I shouldn't have today. I accept any punishment. Silas Westcott sipped his tea calmly, his expression unreadable. The atmosphere in the room was suffocatingly silent. No one dared to breathe loud. After a long while, Silas spoke. Do you know what I'm angry about? Steward Shu swallowed. I told Leo about the variants. No. Silas shook his head slowly. What you told Leo was trivial. Given the circumstances, you were trying to save your life. Understandable. What truly angers me is that you lost number 5 and number 7. Silas spoke at a leisurely pace. I sent you to catch a man. You failed, and you handed over 2 precious variants to the enemy. Steward Shu shook violently. I deserve death. Please give me a chance to redeem myself. Silas fell silent. Shu couldn't guess his thoughts and only prayed for mercy. A moment later, Silas spoke again. However, Leo's appearance at this time is intriguing, and the questions he asked were interesting. Silas's eyes flickered as he looked at the steward. Shu, I have a task for you. Please speak, Patriarch. I will do my utmost. Starting tomorrow, go to the clinic. Stay by Dr. Rain's side at all times. Report his every move to me, even what he eats for dinner. Don't miss a detail. Understood. Steward Shu was confused. So he was being sent to spy on Dr. Rain, but he didn't dare refuse. Refusal meant not seeing tomorrow's sun. Yes, I will complete the mission. Back at the clinic, Leo returned to his room to sleep. Suddenly, he remembered that Sebastian's condition usually flared up around this time. He walked back out to the counter. Sebastian was curled up on a recliner, fast asleep. Leo kicked the chair. Oh! Sebastian jumped up like a startled rabbit. He was about to curse, but seeing it was Dr. Rain, he swallowed the words. Leo glanced at him. Get up. Treatment time. Sebastian obediently followed Leo into the dark, small treatment room. Inside, as Leo applied acupuncture needles, he spoke. Your condition will flare up roughly every 3 days. For this month, drink the medicine first and see how it goes. At the end of the month, I'll do another session. My estimate is that by month's end, you'll be cured completely. Sebastian looked worried. Does that mean I have to endure that pain every 3 days? Leo shook his head. As long as you follow the daily plan and drink the meds on time, you'll be fine. Tomorrow, I'll have Marco buy the herbs. Have your guards brew them daily. Though he said this, truthfully, this single session had already cured Sebastian. Even if Sebastian left the clinic now, he'd be fine. Thank you, Dr. Rain. Sebastian looked grateful. When I'm better, ask for anything. As the young master of the Westcott family, I can fulfill a promise. No need. Leo shook his head, smiling. I take money to fix problems. I took plenty of your family's money, so naturally, I'll fix you. You mean that $3 million? Sebastian scoffed. That's nothing. That's not even my allowance for a few months. Leo's hand paused midair. His mouth twitched. Damn rich kid. Was this the depth of the four pillars? $3 million was just pocket change? When Julian Reed liquidated the entire Reed family assets to screw Leo over, it barely scraped $4.5 million. Leo had a new appreciation for the wealth of the four pillars. Looks like next time he dealt with these families, he needed to hike the prices. Otherwise, there was no sense of accomplishment. After the needles, Leo stretched. Lie still for 10 minutes, then go sleep. Or sleep here if you want. Sebastian shook his head frantically. I'll sleep outside. Are you kidding? This room was cold and spooky. Sleeping here would give him nightmares. Suit yourself. Leo pushed the door open and walked out. Entering the main hall, Leo froze. A group of people stood silently at the entrance, not daring to make a sound. Around them, Westcott guards glared sternly. What is the situation? Dr. Rain, you're finished. A guard's expression softened immediately. It's like this. While you were treating the young master, these people showed up looking fierce, seemingly to cause trouble for you. We questioned them and found out they're from the Wong Syndicate. To avoid disturbing your treatment, we made them stand there. The Wong Syndicate. Leo looked over and saw the leader was the same guy who had robbed back the $150,000 medical fee the other day. Yo, we meet again. Leo waved at him with a smile. The man's expression looked like he had eaten a turd. Since snatching back the money, he thought he was in the clear. Until last night, everyone from the Wong Syndicate who had been treated at the clinic started howling in agony simultaneously. He checked with the Chun crew and found their treated members suffering similarly. Realizing it was Dr. Rain's doing, he planned to team up with the Chun guy for revenge. But the Chun guy stammered and avoided the topic. He thought the Chun guy was a coward, so tonight he brought the Wong boys alone, walking right into a trap. Ha! What a coincidence, Dr. Rain. The Wong leader scratched his head, laughing awkwardly. You're still up this late? On the surface, he smiled. Inside, he was cursing the Chun family's ancestors. No wonder that guy didn't come. He knew the Westcotts were here. It was a setup. Leo smirked, planning to snatch another $150,000. Dr. Ray, you joke. We just came to look around. Really? Then why do I see weapons? This Halloween is coming up. Just doing some early cosplay. Hearing this recycled excuse, Leo and the guards chuckled. Leo scanned the group. Quite a few of you. Dr. Rain, how should we handle them? A guard asked. Let me think. Leo rubbed his chin, then raised an eyebrow. How about this? $150,000 per head. Pay up and you walk. $150,000 per person? The leader was stunned. There were over 30 of them. That was over $4.5 million. Where'd he get that kind of money? Dr. Rain, can we negotiate? The leader wanted to kill Rain, but eyeing the guards, he whispered, Isn't that a bit steep? No money? No money, no problem. Leo grinned. Tell your boss to bring the cash and ransom you. He turned to the guard. Notify Walter Wong. Tell him to bring $4.5 million to bail out his men. Any problem? The guard hesitated. We might not have the authority. You do. A voice rang out from behind. Sebastian walked out of the room, snorting coldly. Get Walter Wong here. I want to see where the Wong Syndicate gets the nerve to act like tyrants. He had heard about the money-snatching incident. It disgusted him. If Dr. Rain had blackmailed them after the fact, Sebastian wouldn't care if they took it back. But the price was agreed upon up front. Paying and then robbing the doctor? That was low. The Wong Syndicate members felt their souls leave their bodies the moment they saw Sebastian. It's over. The Westcott young master is here, and he's buddies with Dr. Rain. We are absolutely screwed. Sebastian glared coldly at the group, then turned to the guard. Didn't you hear me? Get Walter Wong here to ransom his people. The guard snapped to attention. Yes, I'll notify Patriarch Wong immediately. He turned away to make the call. Sebastian looked at Dr. Rain. Don't worry, Dr. Rain. I'll handle justice for you today. Leo crossed his arms and watched Sebastian posture. Guess I'm not sleeping tonight. Before long, the guard returned. Young master, Patriarch Wong, says he's on his way. The 30 men felt a deeper chill. When Walter Wong arrived, they knew, without needing a brain, that their fate would be grim. The leader looked at Dr. Rain with aggrieved eyes, 1,000 insults running through his mind. You know the Westcott young master? You should have said so. You have this kind of backing? Say something. If you just mentioned Sebastian Westcott, the medical fee would have been yours instantly. Why set us up like this? He was bitter, but he couldn't speak. The group stood silent as baby chicks, heads bowed, awaiting judgment. Walter Wong arrived quickly. Less than 5 minutes after the call, A sports car roared into view. The car stopped at the clinic entrance. Walter scrambled out, quickly assessed the scene to understand the situation, glared at his men, and trotted over to Sebastian. Walter was an old fox. Even though he had been summoned urgently and didn't know the full story, he started with an apology. Mr. Sebastian, I am terribly sorry. These guys caused you trouble. I will punish these unruly idiots severely when I get back. Sebastian glanced at him. Walter, you seem to be apologizing to the wrong person. Walter started. Is Sebastian standing up for someone else? His eyes quickly landed on Dr. Rain beside Sebastian. He smiled ingratiatingly. And how should I address this gentleman? Leo found it amusing. Softly, he said, my surname is Rain. You can call me Dr. Rain. Dr. Rain. Forgive my ignorance. I didn't realize such a distinguished figure was residing in this humble clinic, or I would have visited sooner. Walter lowered his posture significantly, shaking Leo's hand with both of his. Dr. Rain, one look tells me you are a dragon among men. Extraordinary aura. These blind fools of mine must have lost their minds to offend you. Rest assured, Dr. Rain, tell me what they did, and I will punish them without mercy. Leo smirked. You know they brought people here a couple of days ago for treatment, right? Walter paused. A couple of days ago, the day Leo Evans attacked the Wong estate. He remembered the hospitals were full, so he told them to find their own treatment. He nodded quickly. I did tell them to find treatment, but I didn't ask details afterward. To think they were saved by you, Dr. Rain. What fate! Not only are your medical skills superb, but you have a heart of gold. Leo shook his head. Stop flattering me. Do you know that after I cured them, they not only threatened me with guns, but robbed back the medical fees they had already paid? And looking at their gear tonight, they came back for revenge. If Mr. Sebastian wasn't here by chance, I'm afraid. Walter's smile vanished instantly. Such a thing happened. He spun around, his gaze sharp as a knife, scrutinizing his men. You absolute disgrace. My Wong family acts with honor. How do we produce scumbags like you? The men hung their heads, taking the abuse, until Walter said the next sentence. From today on, you are no longer members of the Wong family. Patriarch. Don't call me patriarch. I am not your patriarch. Walter shouted decisively, waving his hand. I cannot associate with filthy trash like you. Leo and Sebastian stood behind him, watching silently. Walter turned back to Dr. Rain. Dr. Rain, this was my failure in discipline. Since they are expelled from the family, handle them however you wish. The Wong family will not interfere. Additionally, I bear responsibility. Here is a small token of apology and compensation. Please accept it. He held out a bank card. There's $4.5 million on this card. A small gesture. Please take it. Given your relationship with Mr. Sebastian, if you don't accept, I won't have the face to follow Mr. Sebastian anymore. In his eyes, Dr. Rain and Sebastian must be close friends. He couldn't imagine that even Sebastian had to act like a polite student in front of Rain. Leo smiled, took the card, and looked at Walter teasingly. I can handle these men however I want. Of course. Kill them. Flay them. I won't say a word. No, I'm a doctor. I don't do bloody things. Leo looked at the 30 men. He saw a hint of hatred in their eyes. He chuckled lightly. Forget it. Not a big deal. I'll let them go. Both Walter and Sebastian froze. Let them go. Walter couldn't believe it. Dr. Rain, after what they did, you're sparing them? Why? Can't I? Of course you can, it's just. Before Walter could finish, Leo addressed the men. You can leave. Mr. Sebastian, tell your guards to let them pass. Sebastian didn't ask questions. These were trivial matters to him. He nodded, and the guards opened a path. The 30 men stood there, stunned. We survive? Just like that? What? Don't want to leave? Leo asked flatly. 30 seconds. If you're not gone, I'll let Patriarch Wong handle you. Hearing this, the 30 men scrambled for the exit like madmen, afraid that a second's delay would get them killed. They didn't know why they were spared, but being alive meant not asking questions. Just run. In less than 20 seconds, they were gone. Walter's face shifted colors. Seeing them leave, he forced a smile. As expected of the benevolent Dr. Rain, such magnanimity. I am truly impressed. Leo smiled. Walter was truly an expert at ass-kissing. Just a continuous stream of flattery. It made sense. Anyone sitting in the patriarch seat at his age had to be shrewd. Of all the family heads Leo had met, none were easy to deal with, except Victor Fong, who was just old and losing his edge. Walter turned to Sebastian. Mr. Sebastian, about today. Until Sebastian spoke, the stone in Walter's heart wouldn't drop. However, Sebastian looked at Dr. Rain. Dr. Rain, are you satisfied with this outcome? Walter's pupils shook. Sebastian is asking for his opinion? Just what is this doctor's background? Walter regretted not putting more money on the card, but he couldn't afford more. The Wong Syndicate was a subsidiary family. They couldn't throw around tens of millions like the Westcotts. The $4.5 million was 3 years of operating funds for them. Leo nodded slightly. I'm satisfied with Patriarch Wong's handling. Let's consider this little misunderstanding resolved. No need to hurt the harmony. A small subsidiary family wasn't worth chasing down. Leo's perspective had changed since the old days. He was a walking fortune now. Hearing this, Walter finally relaxed, thanking him profusely. Thank you, Dr. Rain. You are truly a man of great stature. After spouting a paragraph of unique compliments, Walter left. Leo found him to be quite a character. All right, get lost. Don't interrupt our sleep. Sebastian waved his hand, adding a warning. I'm telling you, Walter, Dr. Rain let you off this time. Control your people. If this happens again, I won't forgive you. Walter nodded repeatedly, practically swearing on his life, before getting into his sports car and leaving. After tonight, the Wong Syndicate would likely keep their heads down for a long time. Inside the car, driving away from the clinic, Walter's face turned grim. He spoke to the driver. Go find some people. Get rid of the 30 men who just ran away. Yes, Patriarch. The driver responded calmly, clearly experienced in such matters. Walter took a deep breath, staring out the window, murmuring to himself. Virtue Clinic. Dr. Rain. It seems a formidable figure has arrived in our little corner of the city. When we get back, notify the family. Keep your eyes open. Do not provoke Dr. Rain. Understood. The driver checked the rearview mirror. Understood. I'll handle it. Back inside the clinic. Sebastian looked at Dr. Rain, puzzled. Why did you let them go? Aren't you afraid they'll come back for revenge? Leo laughed. They have to survive tonight first. What do you mean? Walter is decisive. He ruthlessly abandoned his subordinates. Then I mercifully let them go. Leo smiled, eyes narrowing. These men have worked for the Wong family for years. Being discarded like trash creates resentment. Over time, they become a ticking time bomb. Even if the chance is small, if you were Walter, would you let that risk exist? Sebastian thought for a moment, realizing the implication. So, Walter will have them killed. Leo nodded. Exactly. They're dead either way. Since that's the case, let Walter do the killing. Keeps my hands clean. I'll let them go and gain a reputation for benevolence. Why wouldn't I do it? The surrounding guards looked at Dr. Rain with new respect. In that situation, they would have killed the men on the spot. All right, enough excitement for one night. Time to sleep. Leo stretched. Even with his enhanced body, he was tired. He addressed the guards. I'm heading to bed. Thanks for the night shift. You're welcome, Dr. Rain. It's our duty. Sebastian watched Dr. Rain's retreating back, falling into deep thought. He stood there silent. A guard whispered, Young master, you should rest too. We'll keep watch. Sebastian remained silent. After a long pause, he asked a question that baffled everyone. His expression was incredibly serious as he scanned the guards. I ask you, do you think I am qualified to be the heir of the Westcott family? The guards froze. Young master, what do you mean? There was a loneliness in Sebastian's eyes. I know the forward review many people have of me. Good for nothing. If I didn't have the title of Westcott Young Master, any random person on the street would be better than me. I used to dismiss it. I didn't think I was as bad as they said. At least not that far off. But today, I saw Leo Evans. I've seen his file. He's younger than me. Yet he fought his way from Ethelberg to NYC. Martially, he fights variants alone. Mentally, he outwits the old masters. And Dr. Rain just now, dealing with Walter Wong. I only saw the surface, but underneath, there were so many layers. Sebastian sighed deeply. I used to lie to myself, thinking I wasn't that bad. But the experiences of these last few days act like a constant reminder. I am just a useless, hedonistic heir. Inside the Virtue Clinic, the guards watched a despondent Sebastian Westcott, unsure of how to answer his self-deprecating questions. Sebastian didn't seem to expect an answer, continuing his monologue. Forget the 4 pillars. Even the heirs of the lesser families in the capital have their own talents, their own place in this city. Me? I have no brains. I couldn't focus on books as a kid, let alone master any complex schemes. And fighting? Forget it. I run a few hundred meters, and I'm gasping for air. My body is frail, and someone like me is supposed to inherit the massive Westcott dynasty. Sebastian laughed as he spoke, as if he had just told the world's greatest joke. The emotions he had buried deep in his heart for years erupted in that moment. How ridiculous. Ha ha. Young master, you. The guards looked at the laughing Sebastian, struggling to find words of comfort. What could they say? You're actually not that bad? That's like telling a student who failed their SATs, it's okay, you tried hard. Would they be comforted? No. They would only think that their years of effort collapsed at the finish line, and to others, it was just a light, meaningless, it's okay. There's no true empathy in this world. All comfort is just scratching an itch through a boot, pale and powerless. Sebastian laughed through his tears, tried to release every ounce of pressure that had built up inside him. He had no ability, yet he was required to be capable. This pressure had accompanied him from birth until now. No one understood his burden. Everyone who faced him offered only flattery. The young master is truly the young master. The Westcott future is bright. Are you blind? Can't you see the young master's car coming? Make way. The young master's aim. Unparalleled talent. With hard work, he'll surely be a sharpshooter. How can you let the young master do menial work? Young master, get up. If the patriarch sees this, we're doomed. Young master. Young master. Those voices echoed endlessly in Sebastian's mind, splitting his head with pain, his eyes bloodshot. Why did I have to be born with the expectation of omnipotence? Why was the street clear just because I wanted to practice driving? Why did they say I had talent when my marksmanship was trash and I couldn't even hit a stationary target? Why did I have to hide to do the things I actually liked? Why? Bang! Sebastian was sent flying by a kick. The guards were shocked and rushed to help him up. When they looked back, the person who had kicked Sebastian was none other than Dr. Rain. You're so damn loud. Can't a man sleep without you howling at the moon? Leo dug a finger into his ear, looking impatient. It's nighttime, so you decided to get all emo and depressed? Can you consider other people's feelings? If you want to cry, go find a corner and sob quietly. Don't make a sound. If I hear one more peep, I'll beat you myself. With that, he turned and went back to his room, slamming the door shut with a loud thud. Sebastian stood frozen in place, twitching slightly. Like a scolded child, he didn't dare cry out loud, only sobbing softly. His backside, where Dr. Rain had kicked him, was still throbbing. Young master, this. Leave me alone. Go to your jobs. Sebastian waved his hand, walking silently to a recliner in the corner. He lay down with his back to them. Soon, Sebastian went quiet. It was unclear if he had fallen asleep or if, as Dr. Rain suggested, he was silently shedding tears. The guards, helpless, pretended nothing had happened and went back to their tasks. Back in his room, Leo Evans didn't sleep. He sat by the window, legs crossed, looking at the moon. He was wearing white Bluetooth earbuds. He had intended to sleep, but Ava Reed was still awake, so they ended up on a long call. Sebastian's wailing had been too loud, forcing Leo to go out and kick him. What was that just now? Was someone crying? Ava's voice came through the earbuds. Leo looked at the moon, speaking casually. Yeah, just that rich kid I told you about, crying his eyes out in the lobby. Huh, why was he crying? Ideally, adults cry when emotions hit them, especially late at night when they think about their bank accounts. The tears just flow naturally. Isn't he a rich heir? He wouldn't cry about that, right? Him? Maybe he's crying because his wallet is too full. Leo had been listening to every word Sebastian said outside while on the phone. He had a rough idea of Sebastian's situation, but he couldn't be bothered to care. He wasn't the type to meddle in others' business unnecessarily. He'd rather spend that time talking to his wife. I see. By the way, where was I? You were saying you made risotto for Uncle Julian, but he didn't eat a bite and snuck out for greasy chili dogs. Right. I was so mad. He asked me to make the risotto, and then he turned his nose up at it. Leo's mouth twitched. With your cooking skills, it's hard not to turn one's nose up. But he didn't dare say that aloud, or the Reed family's little demon would fly to the capital just to beat him up. I don't know where my mom has been running off to lately either. She's being all mysterious. Haven't seen her in days. Every time I ask Dad, he says she's playing poker. I'm not a kid anymore. Lying to me constantly. If I don't want me to know, just say so. Why lie about poker? Leo laughed. Hard to say. Knowing Annie Julia's personality, she might actually be playing poker. Lucky she's not there, or she'd be mad hearing you call her Annie Julia. We haven't had the wedding yet. Not time to call her mom. But you were calling her that so sweetly before. I told you. I was coerced by Annie Julia. I'm a victim. The two chatted as if they had endless topics. Finally, Ava's voice grew heavy with sleepiness. Now, when are you coming home? If you don't come back soon, I'm going to come find you. Leo's eyes softened. Wait a little longer. I promise, as soon as things are done here, I'll be back immediately. Okay. Did Marco get turned by you? Hello? Ava, what did you say? The signal is suddenly bad here. Damn you, Leo Evans. I'm going to sleep. Good night. Good night, wifey. Suddenly, his signal was perfectly fine again. Early the next morning, Leo walked out to find only Marco guarding the counter. Sebastian was nowhere to be seen. Where is he? Went to buy breakfast, Marco muttered. I don't know what happened, but he seems different today. Leo raised an eyebrow. Different? How so? I can't put my finger on it, but I don't hear him complaining. Marco said. Before, he complained almost every day, but today he's a bit quiet. Boss, do you know what's going on? How would I know? Leo spread his hands. I'm not a tapeworm in his gut. With that, Leo pulled a bank card and a piece of paper from his pocket and handed them to Marco. Use the money on this card to buy all the medicinal herbs on this list. Then have the guards brew them into a decoction and make Sebastian drink it. Marco took the list, looking at the herbs curiously. Is this medicine really effective? Yeah. Sebastian is too weak. If he drinks this consistently for a month, his physical constitution will be slightly better than a normal person's. Leo paused, then grinned mischievously. But this brew has one major flaw. What flaw? It smells extremely foul. And when brewed, it looks like liquid sewage. Leo lowered his voice. That's why the guards need to supervise him drinking it. Otherwise, I'm afraid that guy would rather die than take a sip. Marco felt a chill run down his spine. Mr. Evans was too dark. He had thought Leo genuinely wanted to help Sebastian improve his health. Now it seemed he was overthinking it. Truly the man chosen by the young miss. Their demonic methods were identical. After giving instructions, Marco was about to leave to buy the herbs when Leo heard someone calling him. Dr. Rain. Turning around, he saw Steward Shu walking into the clinic, his eyes locked on Leo. Steward Shu? What brings you here? Steward Shu looked around and didn't see Sebastian, so he asked, Where is our young master? Out exercising. You need him. Steward Shu shook his head. No, Dr. Rain. I came specifically to find you. Find me? What for? It's like this. The patriarch said he has some matters he wants to discuss with you, so he sent me to invite you to the family estate. Hearing this, Leo's eyes narrowed slightly. Invited to the Westcott estate? At a time like this? So sudden? Is it something important? Well, the patriarch didn't say. He just asked me to pick you up. Steward Shu laughed awkwardly. If Dr. Rain is free, the car is outside. Shall we go? Leo blinked, then smiled. Sure, I happen to be free. He turned to Marco. Proceed with what I told you just now. Call me if there are any issues. Marco nodded. Don't worry, boss. I'll handle it. Hearing this, Leo nodded in satisfaction and followed Steward Shu out of the clinic. He had intended to visit the Westcott family anyway to check the situation. Since they invited him, it would be rude to refuse. Inside the sedan, Steward Shu sat in the back with Leo. The atmosphere was a bit silent. Steward Shu took the initiative to ask, Dr. Rain, what was that task you just gave that young man? Nothing much. I just sent him to buy medicine for your young master. I see. Thank you for your hard work, Dr. Rain. Our young master is lucky fate didn't abandon him. He met a noble benefactor like you. They chatted back and forth about nutritious, meaningless topics. While Leo engaged in perfunctory conversation with Steward Shu, he was pondering what Silas Westcott wanted with him. Meanwhile, inside the Westcott estate, Silas Westcott sat in a chair, looking at a thin man in front of him. This was the intelligence agent he had sent to North Point to verify Dr. Rain's identity. Silas sipped his tea and spoke calmly. Well, is everything clear? The thin man lowered his head and reported honestly. Report to Patriarch. I asked around North Point for a long time. No one knew the name Dr. Rain or Muro. I went to Eastside Ridge many times, but I couldn't meet Master Silas, so I couldn't verify if Dr. Rain is really connected to him. However, when I went to find Master Silas, I met a man who said he knew Dr. Rain. Oh, Silas's expression finally changed. Ooh, I didn't get his name. He was quite young and frequently entered and exited Master Silas's residence. He seemed to have a close relationship with the master. According to him, Dr. Rain had interactions with Master Silas, but not many. They could be considered acquaintances. That is all the information I gathered in North Point. Silas remained silent, tapping his finger lightly on the table, his eyes filled with thought and doubt. He whispered softly, acquaintances? Yet Dr. Rain claims they are old friends? Unknown in North Point, known by few. Silas frowned. He had deduced something. This Dr. Rain was likely really from Eastside Ridge in North Point. However, he probably couldn't make it there, so he ran to the capital, using Master Silas's name to build momentum for himself. Although these were just guesses, what was certain was that Dr. Rain was indeed a North Point native. That couldn't be faked. After all, if Dr. Rain were a fake identity, someone would have had to arrange people in North Point to cover for that identity. Why go to all that trouble? So, Silas concluded that Dr. Rain's background shouldn't be a major issue. Just then, the gatekeeper announced that Steward Shu had arrived with Dr. Rain. Silas glanced at the thin man. You may leave. Yes. The thin man turned and left. Walking a short distance, he ran into Steward Shu and Dr. Rain. Steward Shu, MN. The thin man greeted him and hurried away. Leo glanced at him, his eyes narrowing slightly. He knew that person. As soon as he decided on the Dr. Rain identity from North Point, Leo had called his contact there. His brother-in-law, Julian Reed. He had to admit, talking to Julian was easy. Leo had just mentioned his Dr. Rain cover story, and Julian replied with one sentence. Fine. Say no more. Don't worry about North Point. I'll solidify your identity. With those words, the heavy stone in Leo's heart dropped. The brother-in-law was reliable. Not long ago, Julian had sent a photo of that thin man to Leo's phone, saying the matter was handled and to use the identity with confidence. That was why Leo recognized the man at a glance. Heh, the old guy's really cautious, Leo cursed inwardly. He had only wanted insurance, but he didn't expect Silas Westcott to actually send someone to North Point. If Julian hadn't happened to be in North Point, his cover would have been blown on the spot today. Dr. Rain, you're here. Please come in, come in. Before Leo even entered the door, he saw Silas Westcott personally coming out to welcome him, his attitude extremely polite. Patriarch Westcott, you're too kind. Why call me Patriarch Westcott? Isn't that distancing? Silas laughed. Last night, you saved my son and so many of my Westcott people from Leo Evans. I haven't even figured out how to thank you yet. If you don't mind, call me Brother Silas, and I'll call you Brother Rain. How about it? Leo raised an eyebrow and smiled. Indeed, calling you Patriarch is a bit formal. Then I'll call you Brother Silas. Is that all right? Ha ha. Silas laughed loudly. Good. Of course it's good. Ha ha ha. After both sat down, Steward Shu brewed a cup of tea for each of them. Brother Rain, try this tea, Silas said with a smile. This is top-tier Grand Cru tea. It costs over $300,000 a pound. Hearing this, Leo quickly picked it up and took a sip. TSK. In his opinion, it wasn't as good as a $4 jasmine tea from a smoothie stand. Good tea. Truly good tea. Leo put on an expression of enjoyment. The aroma isn't flashy. It's introverted. The taste is smooth, naturally entering the throat, creating a spring under the tongue with a hint of astringency at the tip. After rattling off a pretentious review, he sighed in admiration again. Indeed, good tea. Leo took another sip, cursing inwardly. It tastes like crap. No wonder people say rich people have brain damage. 300 grand for this garbage. Hearing Leo's praise, Silas's eyebrows shot up, evidently very pleased. He turned to Steward Shu and said, Pack up this tea. Let Brother Rain take it back later. No, no, no. Leo waved his hands quickly. Brother Silas, I can't accept that. What's this? You call me brother, so why act like a stranger? Silas waved his hand. Listen to your big brother. Take it back and drink it. If it's not enough, I'll buy more for you. Not enough to drink. If I drink even one sip of this at home, I'll be disgracing my identity as a young person. Leo's mouth twitched as he mumbled. Then I won't be polite. Silas nodded with satisfaction, then thanked Dr. Rain again for his actions the previous night. Then, Silas added, Ideally, I should have come to visit you to express my gratitude, but I have something to do later, so I had to invite you over, Brother Rain. Leo quickly said, Brother, what are you saying? If you're busy, go ahead. Don't worry about me. Just then, Steward Shu appeared and said to Silas, Patriarch Osborne has arrived. He is waiting for you in the council chamber. Hearing this, Leo's heart stirred. Patriarch Osborne? The head of the Osborne Trust, one of the 4 pillars? What is he doing here at this time? Good, I know. Silas nodded, then turned to Leo. Brother Rain, come with me. It's a good opportunity to introduce you to Patriarch Osborne. It will be beneficial for you. Since confirming Dr. Rain's identity was clean, Silas had developed a desire to recruit him. Whether it was the conversation at the clinic or Dr. Rain's attitude facing Leo Evans yesterday, Silas felt this man was a talent. Why not bring him into the family fold early? Me? Is that appropriate? Leo waved his hand. Brother Silas, you surely have important matters to discuss. It's not good for an outsider like me to listen, and if I embarrass myself, you'll lose face. Better not. He deliberately emphasized the word outsider, playing hard to get. Sure enough, Silas immediately said, What outsider? Brother Rain, if you say that, I'll get angry. Come with me. Whoever dares treat you as an outsider, I'll deal with them. Regardless of whether Dr. Rain was willing, Silas led him directly toward the council chamber. Leo deliberately put on a helpless expression, slowly following behind Silas. Walking into the council chamber, Silas pushed open the door, and Leo followed him in. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure and froze. Leland Vance. Why is this guy here? Inside the room, Leland Vance, who was sitting in a chair, also noticed Dr. Rain. Leo quickly made his expression natural, nodding slightly at Leland, trying not to let the other party detect anything strange. Leland frowned, his eyes constantly assessing Dr. Rain. Why does this man give me a familiar feeling? Besides Leland, there were two other people in the room. Silas, you old coot, you have quite the ego. You dare make me wait for you now. A man who looked about the same age as Silas looked at him with disdain. Silas wasn't angry. He laughed and cursed back. Otis, you've only waited a few minutes, and you're already restless? Then, he turned to look at the young man beside Otis Osborne. This must be Oliver. He's grown so much. Uncle Silas, long time no see. Oliver Osborne greeted politely. Silas nodded with a smile. Perfect. Let me introduce everyone. He pointed Dr. Rain beside him. This is Dr. Rain, a miracle doctor from Eastside Ridge in North Point, and a close friend of Master Silas. He is now running a clinic and is the chief physician of our Westcott family. Then he introduced the others to Dr. Rain. This is the patriarch of the Osborne Trust, Otis Osborne. Next to him is his son, Oliver Osborne. As for that one over there, he's a friend of mine, Leland Vance. Leo greeted them politely one by one. Now, everyone was acquainted. After everyone was seated, Silas checked the time and frowned. What's going on? Why haven't the Shang and Granger families sent anyone yet? Otis Osborne said calmly. Shang told me earlier that his son is coming over in a bit. As for Granger, I have no news. Silas snorted lightly. That old man Gregory Granger has been playing dead for the past few years. Can't see him. Can't even get through on the phone. Since that's the case, forget Granger. Once Shang's son arrives, we'll start. Leo was secretly shocked. This meeting, it was a joint assembly of the Four Pillars? What kind of major event required the Four Pillars to gather together to discuss? Leo sat silently in his chair, blinking. Is this something I can listen to without paying a subscription fee? And for a meeting of this level, why did Leland Vance have a right to attend? Leo was filled with doubts, but he couldn't show it. He displayed an attitude of detachment, as if he were just an outsider sitting in on class. To the side, Silas Westcott had already started chatting with Otis Osborne. I heard you've been keeping Oliver by your side a lot lately, Silas said, looking at Oliver Osborne with a smile. Are you already starting to groom your successor? Oliver said modestly, I'm still far from ready. I have a lot to learn. Indeed, this kid is still far off, Otis Osborne said with a laugh. If I don't bring him out to exercise, this little brat will ruin himself playing around. Although he said this, his smile was full of pride. Oliver had received his education from childhood and already possessed all the abilities of a qualified successor. To put it bluntly, even if Otis met with an accident now, Oliver could take over the Osborne Trust well without chaos. Silas, you old coot, where's your son? Otis asked. I haven't seen him in a long time. Since I'm here, why not bring him out to say hello? Him. Silas snorted coldly, showing some anger. He's out playing somewhere. I can't control him anymore. I just hope the Westcott dynasty doesn't crash and burn his hands. When the time comes, I'm afraid Oliver and the others will have to help Sebastian out. You are all of the same generation. You should support each other. Hearing this, Oliver quickly stated, Uncle Silas, you're exaggerating. Sebastian is my brother. We grew up together. If he's in trouble, of course, I'll do my best to help him. Ha ha. Silas laughed heartily. Good. Then Uncle thanks you on behalf of that little brat in advance. Just as his voice fell, there was a knock on the door. Silas looked back and said, Who is it? Patriarch, young mister. Shang has arrived. Steward Shu's voice came from outside. Let him in. Yes. The door was pushed open, and Leo looked over. A man in a suit walked in, looking like a successful businessman, radiating a mature temperament that didn't match his age. This was the eldest young master of the Shang dynasty, and its sole heir. Spencer Shang. Uncle Silas, Uncle Otis. Spencer Shang greeted them politely, looking apologetic. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. Because of some issues in the family recently, my father couldn't come personally, so he sent me. Silas narrowed his eyes. What matter could keep your father so busy he couldn't step away? I heard your family's young miss returned a few days ago and ran into some trouble at the airport. Uncle Silas heard about that too. A helpless look appeared on Spencer's face. We still haven't found that person. As for Lucia, she is my sister. After all, but she's still resistant towards me. Plus, her father is Director Shang, who used to work under Sterling, so the family hasn't been peaceful lately. But don't worry, uncles. I can handle this small matter. Spencer's tone was incredibly certain, as if this truly was just a trivial matter to him. Hearing this, Silas Westcott and Otis Osborne looked at Spencer with appreciation. To have such presence at a young age was impressive. Oliver Osborne also glanced at Spencer. His expression didn't change, but Leo keenly caught a flash of sharpness in his eyes. This made the corner of Leo's mouth curl up. So the four pillars aren't a solid monolith. At least, Oliver and his generation certainly aren't. All right, since Spencer is here, let's begin. We can't contact Granger, so forget him. It's not a huge matter anyway. No need for all four families to be present. After Silas arranged for Spencer's sit, he took the main seat and officially started today's meeting. He scanned the group and spoke slowly. I trust everyone here has heard a little about the person named Leo Evans recently. The group paused, then nodded one after another. Who in the capital didn't know the name Leo Evans by now? 10th on the blacklist, trashing the Gideon estate, solo killing a variant. Any one of these deeds was enough to demand attention. I won't elaborate on what he's done. You all know, Silas said with a grave expression. The first item on today's agenda is to adjust Leo Evans' ranking on the blacklist. 10th place is no longer sufficient. His threat to us has exceeded that category. I suggest moving Leo Evans directly to number 2 on the blacklist. At the same time, to attract the attention of other factions, the bounty will be $75 million. Hearing this, everyone's pupils shrank, somewhat shaken. Second place on the blacklist, $75 million. Otis Osborne couldn't help but say, right now, Sterling at number 1 is only at $60 million, right? Correct. Silas nodded. Therefore, Sterling's bounty will also be raised. Raised to what? $150 million. Otis gasped. He didn't expect this old man Silas to be so ruthless. Leo also gasped. I'm at this level, and you still won't put me at number 1? You insist on letting that guy Sterling take a dump on my head? And why is my bounty $75 million while Sterling is double mine? Leo was emotional. He didn't expect that even after all this, he couldn't rush to the top spot. Were these old men that afraid of Sterling? Spencer Shang thought for a moment before speaking. Uncle Silas, I can understand Sterling, but I feel Leo Evans isn't at that level yet. Is he? Oliver Osborne nodded in agreement. He also felt that raising Leo directly to second place was giving him too much importance. The blacklist wasn't just a bounty list. It was also a notification to the major forces in the capital about the danger level of these individuals. In their view, Leo was far from being number 2. Hearing this, Leo glanced inadvertently at the two of them. Good. Saying I'm not worthy, huh? I'm putting you 2 in my little notebook. Don't let me catch you walking alone at night. If I do, I'll strip you naked and make you streak through the capital streets. Then I'll record a video and send it to your patriarchs. If the price isn't right, that video goes viral. Oof. I advise you not to underestimate Leo Evans. Leland Vance suddenly spoke up. Among everyone present, only I have truly faced Leo Evans directly. I can tell you, that man's threat level is no lower than Sterling's. Leo looked at Leland with a touch of emotion. Old Lee, they all look down on me, but you think the most highly of me. Don't worry, Old Lee. If I get the chance in the future, I'll definitely give you a quick death. After Leland finished speaking, the atmosphere in the room became somewhat heavy. Honestly, with Leland Vance's status, he wasn't qualified to participate in this meeting. Yet now, not only was he participating, but he was also contradicting Spencer Shang and Oliver Osborne. If not for Silas Westcott's face, they might have already started a fight. Silas scanned the crowd, then said calmly, "What Leland says is exactly what I want to express. There is something you gentlemen may not know because I deliberately suppressed the news. Some time ago, Leo Evans suddenly attacked 3 of my Westcott-affiliated families and even injured my son. Just last night, my men, along with 2 variants, surrounded Leo Evans." Hearing this, Otis Osborne couldn't help but widen his eyes. Such a thing happened. It had been years since anyone dared to actively provoke the 4 pillars. This Leo Evans had such guts, directly attacking the Westcott family's affiliates? How is that different from declaring war? What happened then? Spencer Shang asked quickly. Uncle Silas, was Leo Evans caught? Or did he escape? After asking, Spencer quickly had an answer in his heart. If Leo had been caught, there would be no need to rank him second on the blacklist today. Presumably, there was some slip-up last night that let Leo slip away. Oliver Osborne thought the same as Spencer. However, Silas's next words stunned them both. Escaped. Silas laughed self-deprecatingly, his voice low. I should say, let's go. He not only instantly defeated 2 variants, but the men surrounding him were like paper tigers, no match for him at all. If Dr. Rain hadn't been there, I'm afraid my son's life would have been lost last night. Dr. Rain? Spencer looked in the direction Silas pointed and only now noticed Dr. Rain sitting nearby. Right, I haven't introduced him to you, Spencer. This is Dr. Rain. Silas introduced Dr. Rain to Spencer again, then said, Brother Rain, this is the eldest young master of the Shang family, Spencer Shang. Leo nodded lightly. Pleasure. Spencer nodded politely, but didn't say much. In his eyes, Dr. Rain wasn't worth his attention. His gaze grew grave. I didn't expect Leo Evans to extend his hand to the 4 pillars. He is David Evans' son. Facing us was inevitable. Otis Osborne added, sounding puzzled. But I didn't expect that even variants couldn't handle him. Is he really human? Leland hesitated, wanting to ask the same question. Leo's strength was ridiculous. Yet he looked no different from a normal person, showing no characteristics of a variant. It was inexplicable, but facts were facts. They had to face it. I've said what needed to be said. Now it's time to vote. Silas looked at Spencer and Otis. Granger isn't here, so it counts as an abstention. As long as 2 of us 3 vote yes, my proposal passes. At these words, Otis and Spencer looked at each other, then raised their hands in unison. We approve. Without a doubt, the Westcott family's experience made them realize Leo Evans was already walking toward them with a machete. He could no longer be ignored. Good. Silas nodded. The new blacklist will be produced and distributed to the major factions tomorrow. I'll let you see it beforehand. You can raise any opinions then. Next is the second item. This matter also relates to Leo Evans. It targets the Gideon family. Silas's tone turned grim. Gideon leading his family to defect to Leo Evans is a humiliation for all the major powers in the capital. If the Gideon initiative isn't destroyed, more factions will follow suit over time. Therefore, as the 4 pillars, we should take the lead in sending people to besiege the Gideon family. Hearing Silas's words, Leo almost wanted to laugh. Besiege Gideon? You're saying this right to my face? The moment you leave, I'm hitting your home base. However, this thought was instantly doused with cold water. Otis Osborne spoke slowly. Gideon can be destroyed, but we cannot send too many people. At most, send a few led by affiliate families. You know David Evans' character. Leo, being his son, definitely carries the gene for hitting home bases. Although our 4 pillars have deep foundations, Leo can handle even variants. We must be guarded. Screw you, you old geezer, Otis. Can't play fair, can you? Leo cursed inwardly. What do you mean I carry the gene for hitting home bases? Is there a gene for that? Which time I raided a base wasn't because you seduced me into it. You send people out to fight, leaving so few guarding the house. That's begging to be raided. And then you criticize the raider for having no martial ethics. Truly sore losers. I didn't expect the 4 pillars, with your big eyebrows and big eyes, to have such dirty hearts. Hearing Otis's words, Silas nodded. Correct. That is also my intention. It's just the Gideon family. We don't need to expend too much effort. But I am worried. What if Leo Evans shows up during the siege? What if David Evans takes the opportunity to cause trouble? Sterling is hiding in the shadows, and we don't know what he's planning. Director Jensen's new Bureau of Inspection is also eyeing us. Silas looked at the others seriously, his voice low. Gentlemen, unknowingly, our situation has become increasingly dire. This is why I called this meeting. If we let them continue to develop, our end won't be much better than the Qin Directorate all those years ago. Hearing this, the group fell silent. The Qin Directorate, once the sole ruler of the capital, the biggest victim of the Manhattan incident. Not only was the entire clan exterminated without a single survivor, but their resources were also completely digested by the major factions. Were the 4 pillars of today destined to fall into that same state? Has it really reached this point? Otis Osborne couldn't help but speak up. Although we look surrounded by enemies, their goals aren't aligned. I don't think it's likely they would unite against us. Silas Westcott heard this and said calmly, Don't forget, there is still a Nix. Hearing this name, everyone's brows furrowed in unison. Silas spoke gravely. We all have cooperated with Nix. Otherwise, we wouldn't have produced the current variants. But as of today, who among you has seen Nix's true identity? Do you think it won't turn hostile against us? Silas scanned the group and continued. Nix is a double-edged sword. While we use it, it uses us. When the day comes that it no longer needs us, what will it do? After he finished, everyone in the room fell silent. Leo's heart stirred. He had originally thought only the Westcott family had dealings with Nix, but now it seemed all four pillars were in collusion with Nix. The relationship seemed to be mutual exploitation. He just wondered what Nix was getting from the four pillars. Brother Rain. Silas looked at Dr. Rain and spoke softly. Please keep what we discussed today confidential. Leo looked up at him. Don't worry. I value my life, and I'm not interested in these matters. At this moment, after some consideration, Spencer Shang spoke up. Besieging the Gideon family is fine, but we need to carefully plan for the variables that might arise during the process. I also need to go home and tell my father. Silas nodded, then turned his gaze to Otis. Otis slowly spat out one word. Agreed. Good. Then the matter of besieging the Gideon family is settled. Silas paused, then said, as for the specific implementation, we'll discuss it later with Granger and come up with a plan. Leo blinked. What's going on? Discussing it secretly behind my back? Is there something I, the chief physician of the Westcott family, can't hear? The last matter is regarding Nix. Silas's eyes were solemn as he enunciated each word. We cannot continue to trade with Nix. Otis and the others' eyes changed instantly. Otis said flatly, Silas, old man, what do you mean by this? I'm not joking. Silas said seriously. True, we get many benefits from Nix, but what Nix gets from us is only more. And from beginning to end, we don't know what Nix does with those things. This sense of unease makes me feel we can't go on like this. Otis replied in a low voice, Silas, you and I both know what we can obtain if that research reaches its end. You want me to give up now? Spencer and Oliver were confused. They didn't understand what the two were talking about. Uncle Otis, what do you mean? I don't quite understand. Spencer laughed awkwardly. Can you be clearer? What research? What can we obtain? Yeah, Dad, I don't understand either. Oliver chimed in. Otis glanced at the two of them and said plainly, it has nothing to do with you two. You don't need to know too much about these things. He hadn't expected Silas to bring this up in front of these two juniors. This was a secret only known to the patriarchs of the four families. It concerned immortality. Otis, do you really think we can obtain something that only exists in fantasy? Silas advised earnestly. Listen to me, stop now, lest we cause a great disaster. Impossible. Silas, anything else is negotiable, but not this. Otis stood up, his face dark. Not just me. Even if Harrison Shang and Gregory Granger were here, they wouldn't agree. Because that is our last chance. Silas stood up, locking eyes with Otis. The two stood in a standoff. After a long while, Silas sighed deeply. Sieg, Fine. Since that's the case, we'll talk about this later. Otis kept a cold face, completely devoid of his earlier mild manner. If there's nothing else, today's meeting ends here. Otis walked directly toward the door. Silas's last proposal had touched his bottom line. Seeing this, Silas wanted to speak to keep him, but opened his mouth and closed it again. Leo watched this scene quietly. A disagreement? No, that's not right. These two old men are shrewd foxes. How could they start arguing like children over a few words? But if it's an act, who is the audience? Leland Vance or me? Or maybe... Leo shifted his gaze to Spencer Shang and suddenly thought of a possibility. Is it possible that this meeting was only supposed to discuss the first two items? And the third item was a sudden improvisation by Silas and Otis, a deliberate act for Spencer Shang? Of course, these are just guesses. Regardless of the situation, it was basically certain that there were rifts among the four pillars. Uncle Silas, I'm truly sorry. My father's temper hasn't been good lately. Please excuse him. Oliver stayed behind to apologize to Silas. Silas waved his hand. It's fine. His reaction was within my expectations. Uncle Silas, what exactly were you talking about just now? Spencer was still unwilling to give up asking. Silas glanced at him. It's not time for you to know about this yet. When you go back, tell your father exactly what happened at the meeting today, understand? Spencer wanted to press further, but the words stopped at his lips, and he had to nod. Understood, Uncle Silas. All right, that's it for today. I have matters to attend to later, so I won't keep you two youngsters for dinner. Silas returned to his amiable smile, addressing Spencer and Oliver. You two wouldn't want to eat dinner with an old man like me anyway, right? How could that be, Uncle Silas? We'd love to. Spencer quickly laughed. You little bootlicker. Hurry back. Your father is waiting for your news, Silas scolded laughingly. Leo stood up and followed everyone out, seeing Spencer and Oliver to the door together. After exchanging pleasantries, Spencer and Oliver left together. Leo returned to the main hall of the Westcott house with Silas, and Leland followed. Brother Rain, how was it? Silas sat in his chair, smiling. Any thoughts on attending this meeting? Leo sat to the side, pondering briefly before speaking. I've certainly witnessed the status of the four pillars in the capital. In a small meeting room, a few people, with just a few words, can sway the situation of the entire city and influence the judgment of major factions. I used to hear rumors that after the Qin Directorate fell, the capital was divided by 4 powers. Today, I've truly seen it. Ha ha ha. Silas laughed loudly, then asked, "The foundation of the 4 pillars is far deeper than you think. Brother Rain, having heard so many secrets, you should be very clear on what to do next, right?" Hearing this, Leo cursed the old fox inwardly. Indeed, he has no good intentions. This was to bind him completely to the Westcott family. Otherwise, there was only a dead end. He had heard their conversation just now. If he lost Silas's protection in the future, the assassins from the Osborne and Shang families would probably show up immediately to silence him. Thinking of this, Leo said seriously, "Brother Silas, rest assured. Since I've joined the Westcott dynasty, I absolutely will not have second thoughts." Hearing this, Silas chuckled. "Brother Rain, what are you saying? This isn't the Mafia. Joining doesn't mean you can't leave. If you have a better place to go in the future, or want to return to North Point, just tell me personally. At that time, I will definitely throw a big banquet to see you off, Brother Rain." Leo sneered inwardly. Send me off? Probably send me to the afterlife. At the same time, he glanced sideways and found Leland Vance opposite him, staring at him with a scrutinizing look. Leo raised an eyebrow. Did this guy recognize me? Is his nose that sharp? Why is Brother Leland looking at me like that? Leo decided to probe. Leland shifted his gaze upward, staring into Dr. Rain's eyes. "Nothing. I just feel you look very much like someone I know." "Oh, Brother Leland's friend?" "Yes. A relationship so good that I dream of killing him." Leo's mouth twitched. "You hate me that much?" Then Leland laughed softly. "Just a joke. Dr. Rain wouldn't mind, right?" "Heh, why would I mind?" Leo smiled. "I'm the kind of person who could take a joke best." "Leland Vance, you're dead meat. Who do you think you're talking to? If I weren't wearing this Dr. Rain skin impacting my performance, I'd kill you right now for joking with me. I'm putting you in my little notebook when I get back. You're number 1. Then Leo stood up and said to Silas, "Brother Silas, there's still things to do at the clinic, so I'll take my leave first." "Such a rush. Not staying for dinner?" "No, I still have to treat young Master Sebastian. Truly hard work. I'll have Steward Shoe drive you." Leo nodded and didn't refuse. On the other side, in a private room of a coffee shop near the Westcott estate, Spencer Shang and Oliver Osborne sat opposite each other. After leaving the Westcott house, they didn't choose to go home immediately, but planned to find a place to talk. "What do you think about that just now?" Spencer took a sip of coffee and said, "Clearly, their generation seems to be doing things we don't know about." Oliver looked at him calmly. "So, what do you want to do? Aren't you curious about what they were talking about?" "Curiosity is useless. They don't want us to know. What can we do?" Spencer smiled faintly. "They won't say, but there's someone else, isn't there?" "Someone else? Who?" "Nix. Are you f***ing crazy?" Oliver's pupils shrank in disbelief. "Nix isn't someone to mess with. You plan to find it. Oliver, think carefully about your father and Silas's attitude just now." Spencer's eyes held a touch of fanaticism. What kind of thing could make them unwilling to give it up? Don't you want to know? Don't you want to obtain it? Besides, if they can trade with Nix, naturally, so can we. Oliver's eyes changed completely. He didn't expect Spencer's ambition to be so great. "Aren't you afraid your father will find out?" Oliver couldn't help asking. "So what if he finds out? I am the only heir to the Shang family. Can he kill me?" Oliver mocked. "Only heir? Didn't a young miss just arrive at your house?" At these words, Spencer's expression instantly darkened. "Don't mention that bitch to me." He growled low. "If my father hadn't stopped me, I would have torn that bitch's mouth apart long ago." Hearing this, Oliver sneered. "Heh, just now you were saying softly that she's your sister. Now you expose your true nature?" "Spencer Shang, you're getting better at pretending." Are you, young Master Osborne, any better than me?" Spencer said slowly. "The number of women played to death under your hands can't be counted on a few hands, right?" Thinking of this, Spencer smiled sinisterly. "When my father gets what he wants, I'll give that bitch Lucia Shang to you. How about it?" He. "You really are cruel. That's your sister, after all. So what if she's my sister? Just a little bastard born of a bastard." Spencer said slowly. "When she first came to the family, that mouth of hers cursed everyone she saw. But my father forbade me from touching her. So I thought a way. For every curse word she said to me, I cut a small piece of meat off her father, Director Shang, and threw it in front of her. You really should have seen her expression then. It was simply wonderful." At this moment, Spencer, dressed in a suit and tie, looked excited, but the words coming out of his mouth were hair-raising. Oliver sat opposite him, listening to these words with no change in expression. It seemed that in his eyes, all this was commonplace. In short, I'm asking you one thing. Do you dare to do it? Spencer lowered his voice. I have a way to contact Nix. Oliver frowned. Where did you get it? Oliver frowned. Where did you get it? Don't worry about that. Just say if you're in or out. Spencer tempted him. In our current situation, even if we become patriarchs in the future, we'll still be manipulated by our fathers. The bigger the storm, the more expensive the fish. If we don't take some risks, when will we truly control the families? Oliver listened to Spencer's words, constantly stirring the coffee in front of him. After a long while, as if making up his mind, he looked up into Spencer's eyes. I'm in. I won't drink it. I'd rather die than drink this stuff. Young master, just endure it. It'll be over soon. I don't want it. I'd rather die. This isn't something for humans to drink. Young master, if you keep this up, we'll have to force feed you. You are committing mutiny. As soon as Leo got out of the car at the clinic entrance, he heard such dialogue coming from inside. At the same time, an extremely offensive smell filled the clinic. Steward Shu followed behind Leo. Smelling the odor, he frowned instantly. Holy crap, did someone take a dump right here? The smell is intense. Leo didn't enter the clinic immediately, but turned back and said, Steward Shu, thanks for driving me back. If there's nothing else, you can head back. Steward Shu paused, then laughed awkwardly. The patriarch instructed that starting today, I am to stay at the clinic to assist Dr. Rain and also make it convenient to take care of the young master. Assist? More like surveil me, right? Leo smiled disdainfully, then said calmly, Go back and tell him I won't run. No need to watch me so closely. With that, he stepped into the clinic. Steward Shu froze in place, unsure of what to do for a moment. Looking at the clinic and smelling that foul stench, he really didn't want to go in. Forget it. I'll go back and report to the patriarch first. Steward Shu pinched his nose, turned back to the car, and urged the driver to leave quickly. The driver obviously couldn't stand it either and floored the gas pedal to speed away from his place. As soon as Leo stepped into the clinic, he saw Sebastian running toward him, as if fleeing for his life. It seemed he was only focused on running and completely missed the person standing in front of him. Leo unceremoniously stepped aside and extended a wicked little foot. Thud! Sebastian tripped and fell to the floor. The guards chasing him froze and stopped. Leo looked up at them and saw the leader holding a bowl of medicine, while the others had tissue paper stuffed in their nostrils. What are you standing there for? Leo pointed at Sebastian on the ground and said to the guards, Hoist him up and pour the medicine down his throat. Hearing this, Sebastian tried to crawl towards the clinic exit like a man possessed. However, the guards had already restrained him. Young master, forgive us. Screw off, I don't want it. MMPHMMM. Before Sebastian could finish speaking, the medicine was poured down his throat. Two guards forcefully pried his mouth open, not letting him close it. Leo could see Sebastian's eyes rolling back in agony. Finally, after the whole bowl was poured, the guards let go, releasing Sebastian. Black. Sebastian lay on the floor, retching continuously, a look of pain on his face. This medicine could no longer be described as awful. It was disgusting. Extremely disgusting. Boss, you're back. Marco was holding his nose, spraying air freshener everywhere, but it was hard to mask the smell. He had prepared himself mentally, but when the medicine was brewing, the smell nearly made him dry heave. Seeing Dr. Rain return, Marco walked to his side and whispered, Mr. Evans, that medicine is killer. I can't imagine young Master Sebastian sticking to it every day. Drinking this for a month would be like death. Leo waved his hand. It's fine. Just make him brew it. If he doesn't drink, force it down like today. Marco nodded, looking at Sebastian not far away with sympathy. At this moment, his heart was dead ashes. He collapsed on the ground, the light gone from his eyes. I want to go home. This is abuse. I'm not clean anymore. Sebastian stared at the ceiling with a look of hopelessness, whispering softly. Beside him, several guards laughed awkwardly. Young master, it's okay. You survived such terrible medicine. In our eyes, you are the best. Screw off. Alrighty, young master. The guards rolled away smoothly. Leo found it amusing and walked up to look at Sebastian. How is it? Sebastian rolled his eyes at him and said weakly, Do I really have to drink this stuff every day? Not necessarily. It's just faster this way and good for your body, Leo said with a hint of sarcasm. If you really can't even stomach a bowl of medicine, I can change it to a sweet one for you. But the efficacy is minimal, and you'd have to drink it for at least half a year to get better. I suppose young Master Sebastian hasn't suffered hardships before. This was indeed my oversight. I didn't expect you to act like you were dying over a bowl of medicine. Forget it. I'll change it for you. After all, You have a distinguished status and can't handle bitterness, right, young master? Hearing Leo's words, Sebastian's anger flared instantly. Who are you looking down on? Calling me young master again and again. Isn't that just mocking me for being pampered and unable to endure hardship? Would I fall for this reverse psychology? No need to change. Sebastian's eyes reddened as he rasped. I'll drink this. I haven't reached the point where I can't even drink a bowl of medicine. This was a matter of his dignity. And last night he had just resolved to change himself. How could he lose to a bowl of medicine? Just a bowl of medicine. Tomorrow I'll drink it right in front of you. If I, Sebastian Westcott, even frown once, I lose. Leo raised an eyebrow, somewhat baffled. Why did he suddenly get so fired up? He had genuinely been offering to switch the medicine to a sweet version. He realized that letting the clinic smell this bad all day wasn't good. They had to spray several bottles of air freshener. As for the sarcasm, Leo always spoke with a bit of sarcasm. It was his passive skill. But since Sebastian insisted, let him be. Leo would just go out for a stroll when the medicine was brewing. Suit yourself. I'm exhausted. Gotta go back for a nap. It's almost afternoon. Don't forget your 10K run. You guys supervise him as usual. Same rules. Pace can't be slower than 8 minutes. Marco, spray more air freshener. With that, Leo turned back to his room and shut the door with a click. Several guards walked up to Sebastian, smiling awkwardly. Young master, time to run. Sebastian's mouth twitched, and his instinct was to slip away. But thinking of Leo's words just now, he instantly felt like he had been injected with adrenaline. Run. No need for you to leave me this time. I'll run myself. He stood up abruptly and strode out of the clinic. The guards looked at each other. Did the young master just man up? Back in his room, Leo immediately called Gideon. Hello, Mr. Evans. The call connected quickly, Gideon's voice coming through. Since defecting to Leo, the Gideon family's days had not been good. The connections they had built up before had all cut ties with the Gideon family to avoid getting burned. The Gideon family members now didn't even dare to go out. If they met people from other families, they would be mocked at best or physically attacked at worst. Leo had been silent, as if he had vanished, so seeing Leo actively call him now made Gideon excited inside. He finally remembered me. Gideon, one piece of good news, one piece of bad news. Which do you want to hear first? Gideon paused. Starting like this? Gee, good news. All right, the bad news is. You plan to say the bad news first anyway, so why ask me to choose? Gideon complained internally. However, Leo's next words made him sweat bullets instantly. The Four Pillars are planning a joint operation to besiege your Gideon family. What? Gideon's heart went cold. The Four Pillars and a joint operation. What right did his tiny Gideon family have to deserve this? Gideon panicked inside and asked quickly, then Mr. Evans, what is the good news? The good news is you guys can die in peace. I will avenge you. I won't let you die in vain. Hearing this, the expression on Gideon's face froze instantly, sinking into endless silence. After a long while, he asked tremblingly, and Mr. Evans, you're joking, right? Nonsense, of course I'm joking. If the Gideon family is gone, where would I put my face? Hearing this, Gideon let out a long sigh of relief, his expression complex. Honestly, if he had a choice, he really didn't want to talk to Leo. Then Mr. Evans, what should we do? I'm not clear on the specifics yet. I just know they have this plan, so prepare yourselves first. Leo said slowly, I'll tell you what to do once I find out more. You just need to wait. Gideon looked worried. But Mr. Evans, what if they attack suddenly and catch us off guard? Don't worry. With me here, nothing will happen to the Gideon family. Leo said calmly. That's it for now. Stay on standby and wait for my news. Then he hung up the phone. Meanwhile, in the capital, inside the Shang estate, Spencer Shang sat in front of his father, Harrison Shang, relaying everything from today perfectly. After finishing, seeing his father frowning in thought, Spencer couldn't help asking, Dad, what did Uncle Silas and Uncle Otis mean by those words? Harrison Shang looked up and glanced at him lightly. Some things are better left unknown. When it is time for you to know, you will naturally know. Hearing this, a trace of sharpness flashed in Spencer's eyes, but he hid it well. Harrison's words only strengthened his resolve to cooperate with Nix. Harrison Shang took a sip of tea and asked, Is there anything else? Spencer thought for a moment and said, There were 2 people brought by Uncle Silas at the meeting. One was Leland Vance from the former Vance Dominion. What about the other one? Called Dr. Rain, supposedly from North Point. Spencer briefly recounted Dr. Rain's situation. North Point, East Side Ridge. Harrison frowned. Someone from there again. Truly troublesome. Because of Sterling, these people got a headache just hearing the name North Point. The people from there were never easy to deal with. But Father Leland Vance, why would he be mixed up with Silas Westcott? Harrison Shong sneered. Why else? Either Leland has something on Silas, or he can provide Silas with something valuable. He paused, then added, let's not talk about that. Is there any progress with Director Shong? Spencer shook his head. No, his mouth is very tight. He refuses to reveal the whereabouts of Dr. Quentin Mark's apprentice. Father, in my opinion, we should go directly for his daughter. Use his daughter to threaten him. No. Harrison interrupted him before he could finish. You don't understand Director Shong. He won't submit because of that. If you really harm his daughter, we will never be able to ask for what we want. Then what do we do? Spencer couldn't help saying, if this goes on, we still won't get it out of him. From the beginning, I never planned to pin my hopes on Director Shong. Harrison said calmly. He isn't the only one who knows the whereabouts of Dr. Mark's apprentice. Who else? Even his daughter doesn't know this. Director Shong has a son-in-law named Ethan Sia. He also knows the whereabouts of the apprentice. Hearing this, Spencer realized. So our goal is actually that Ethan Sia. Correct. Capture Ethan Sia, and then you can use Director Shong's daughter to threaten him. Harrison glanced at him and said softly, isn't this the kind of thing you excel at? Spencer laughed slyly. Don't worry, Father. Once we catch that Ethan Sia, just watch my performance. I'll show that guy what true despair is. Capital Caldwell's Crossing. Inside a dimly lit room, a figure in black clothes with a hood sat before several computer screens, typing furiously on a keyboard. Damn it, it's been so long, and I still can't find any trace of Nix. Adrian scratched his head, speechless. Does that guy even exist? During this time, he had checked almost all surveillance in the capital and found absolutely no clues about Nix. Sigh. I still miss the days of trolling that little hacker in Viridian. Didn't have to use my brain at all. Adrian sighed and looked at the computer screen on the right. In the center of the screen, a progress bar was displayed, about to reach 100%. Can only see how much of those deleted videos from the outskirts can be recovered. Hopefully, I can find something. Watching the progress bar hit 100%, Adrian leaned over to the right screen and clicked on the recovered surveillance footage. Damn, this is too blurry. It's like it's pixelated. How am I supposed to check this? Adrian complained while watching the video. Forget it. Didn't have much hope anyway. Adrian's voice stopped abruptly. His eyes slowly widened, staring at the scene on the computer in disbelief. How is this possible? Capital, a desolate area in the outskirts. Dense trees shrouded this small area. Somewhere in the thick forest, a small wooden cabin stood quietly. Crunch, crunch. Sparse footsteps sounded as two figures walked through the woods. Spencer, are you sure it's really here? Oliver Osborne looked around alertly, speaking cautiously. This is the place you said can contact Nix. Spencer walked in front, nodding. I once tracked the family messenger. His main contact point with Nix is here. However, the contact methods and locations for the 4 pillars and Nix are all different, so I'm not sure if Nix will appear here. As his voice fell, the two saw the small wooden cabin not far away. Spencer pulled an envelope from his pocket and waved it in front of Oliver. It's best if we don't see it. We just need to leave the letter inside the cabin. If Nix comes and sees the letter and is willing to cooperate with us, it will leave a letter too. We just need to come back and check later. Oliver took the letter and opened it to look. The content essentially said that the 4 pillars now had thoughts of stopping cooperation, and if Nix wanted to continue getting what it wanted, it should cooperate with the 2 of them. After checking and finding no issues, Oliver returned the letter to Spencer. Can it read the words on this? Of course. Otherwise, how did they communicate before? Oliver smacked his lips. He really hadn't seen a variant that could understand writing or even communicate. This Nix was indeed an anomaly. Let's go. After leaving the letter, we just need to wait. Spencer's tone was relaxed as he led Oliver toward the cabin. He walked to the cabin door, reached out, and pushed gently. The cabin door swung open. In the next instant, Spencer's eyes widened, filled with terror. Ah! He screamed and fell backward onto the ground, as if he had seen a ghost. Oliver was also startled by him and asked quickly, "What's wrong?" "Ah." He followed Spencer's gaze into the cabin and saw a figure standing right inside the door, wearing black robes and a hood. Beneath the hood brim was a terrifying, hideous demon mask. The figure emitted a foul stench. Without much communication, the thoughts in Spencer and Oliver's minds at this moment were identical. The figure before them, wearing the demon mask, was Nix. "Don't kill me. I'm here to discuss cooperation. I am the heir of the Shong family. If you kill me, the 4 pillars will definitely never cooperate with you again." Spencer gasped for breath, his tone panicked, terrified that Nix would kill him instantly. Nix just stared straight at him without saying a word. Oliver's standing legs began to tremble, and his heart was filled with endless regret. He shouldn't have been so rash to come here with Spencer. They had even sent their guards away for secrecy, coming here alone. How is this different from walking into a trap? After a long while, Nix's raspy voice slowly came from beneath the mask. You have business. The words were exceptionally clear, yet they made people feel a chill. Hearing this, Spencer quickly mustered his courage. The four pillars now have thoughts of stopping cooperation with you, so we want to talk to you. Talk? About what? The two of us want to make a deal with you. Spencer stood up slowly, pulling Oliver over. Whatever trade you made with those people before, you make with us. Whatever they gave you, we can give you. Likewise, whatever you gave them, we want the same. After speaking, Spencer looked nervously at Nix, waiting for an answer. Oliver wanted to flee, but in this situation, he could only bite the bullet and stand behind Spencer. If Nix made a move to kill, he wouldn't hesitate to push Spencer forward to buy himself time to escape. Understood. Nix nodded slowly, then spat out one word. Okay. Hearing this, Spencer breathed a sigh of relief, then asked, What do you need? Food. Hearing this word, Spencer paused. Food. Its deal with the four pillars was for a bite to eat. Is it the kind of food for eating? Nix shook its head and said slowly, In your words, it should be called assets. Pausing, it added, assets made from living humans. Hearing this, Spencer and Oliver's brains instantly short-circuited. Assets made from living humans? Wasn't that the primitive type of humanoid monster that had already been eliminated? Nix called those things food. Spencer and Oliver felt a chill wash over them. So, was this the transaction their families had been making with Nix all along? Using living humans to create primitive assets to give to Nix as rations. Then, what can we get? Spencer swallowed hard, whispering, What did you give those people before? Nix stood at the cabin door and slowly spat out a word. Blood. Blood? What blood? My blood. Spencer was stunned. Nix's blood? Did Nix's blood have some effect? Nix's voice sounded again, but this time the words were like thunder exploding in Spencer and Oliver's ears. My blood grants immortality. Spencer and Oliver's eyes widened abruptly. They looked at each other, two words circling endlessly in their ears and minds. Immortality. Did such a thing really exist? Before, Spencer would absolutely not have believed it. He would only think it was nonsense, and only fools would believe it. But the person saying this before him was Nix. The people trading with it were the patriarchs of the four pillars, including his own father, Harrison Shang. Was Harrison Shang a fool? Were the patriarchs of the four pillars fools? Obviously not. So why would they trade with Nix? At this moment, the fear in Spencer's eyes gradually dissipated, replaced by a kind of fanaticism. He knew he had come to the right place. Oliver was the same. Both of their breathing became rapid. They stared fixedly at Nix. In their minds, they had forgotten everything else. There was only one word. Immortality. Drink your blood and really gain eternal life. Of course, if you drink enough. Nix's voice was chilling. One asset, in exchange for one drop of blood. Hearing this, Spencer Shang hesitated for only a split second before replying decisively. Deal. I can provide the test subjects. Provide the food. But first, you have to give me a drop of your blood to verify the goods. Nix shook his head and repeated his previous condition. One asset, one drop of blood. Spencer and Oliver Osborne frowned instantly, though this wasn't entirely unexpected. Nix wasn't stupid enough to give them blood for free. After a brief moment of contemplation, Spencer said firmly, I'll bring the food here at this time of the day after tomorrow. We'll make the trade then. Nix listened and replied indifferently. Good. After speaking, Nix stood at the door of the wooden cabin, watching the two quietly. Spencer glanced inside the cabin. It was pitch black, impossible to see anything. He backed away slowly with Oliver. We'll be leaving now. See you the day after tomorrow. Nix nodded slightly, standing in the doorway, watching them leave. Spencer and Oliver felt their skin crawl under that gaze. They quickened their pace, eventually breaking into a jog as they exited the dense woods. Once they were gone, Nix stepped out and pulled the cabin door shut tight. He looked around, picked a direction, and was just about to leave. Bang! A gunshot rang out. A bullet tore through the air, weaving between the trees, aiming straight for the back of Nix's head. However, it was as if Nix had eyes in the back of his skull. He tilted his head slightly, dodging the bullet with ease. Nix turned slowly, his gaze piercing through the layers of foliage to spot the shooter. TSK. You dodge fast. A man walked out slowly, a cigarette dangling from his lips, a silver pistol in his hand. He looked at Nix with a grave expression and said, "I've been camping out here for ages, and finally, you came out." Nix. Unexpectedly, Nix stared intently at the man, his voice raspy. "I've been looking for you too." Ghost. Professor Miller frowned. "You know me?" After learning about the asset riots in NYC, Miller had come to the city to investigate. When he heard about the existence of Nix, he felt an ominous premonition. He had been tracking Nix's whereabouts, laying an ambush. Today, he finally saw Nix appear and witnessed the transaction. Because of his identity, he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble, so he waited until Spencer and Oliver left before making his move. He wanted to figure out exactly what this Nix was. Under the ghost face mask, Nix let out a sinister laugh. "Hee. Ghost, I've been looking for you. I want to eat you." Miller's face darkened instantly. He took the last drag of his cigarette, threw it on the ground, and crushed it with his foot, looking at Nix with disdain. "Hey, buddy, don't you know cannibalism is illegal in modern society? You are a ghost, not a human. Eating ghosts is illegal too." Miller raised his pistol, aimed at Nix, and said coolly, "Looks like you need to go back to college and take a civics class." Bang, bang, bang. He pulled the trigger repeatedly. Muzzle flashes lit up the dim woods as bullets flew toward Nix. This time, however, Nix didn't dodge. He let the bullets slam into his body. Miller's expression remained unchanged as he kept firing until the magazine was empty. Nix hadn't moved a step. Soon, Miller realized the problem. The spots where the bullets hit didn't shed a single drop of blood. "What the hell?" Miller frowned, realizing the severity of the situation. "What kind of thing are you?" Nix walked slowly toward Miller, speaking as he approached. "I am a new human. I am undying. I am eternal." As the last word fell, Nix suddenly accelerated, rushing in front of Miller in a blur. He swung his fist, smashing it toward Miller. Miller dodged the blow with agility, but Nix didn't stop. He continued his relentless assault. Bang! Nix missed a punch and hit a large tree. With a cracking sound, the tree, thick enough that it would take several people to wrap their arms around it, was snapped in half by the punch. If that fist hit a human body, they would be turned into meat paste instantly. Miller was stunned for a moment. The next second, Nix's fist came again, too fast to dodge. Thud! Terrifyingly, Miller blocked the punch with his forearm. The wind generated by the fist ruffled Miller's hair. Phew! Miller blocked Nix's fist, looking at the ghost mask in front of him, the corner of his mouth twitching. "You hit pretty hard, don't you?" Nix saw his fist blocked and said grimly, "Ghost, you really aren't human. Go screw yourself. I'm a bona fide human being, nothing like you deformed freak." Miller cursed, then kicked Nix in the abdomen. Bang! Nix was sent flying by the kick. Miller rolled his wrist. Although he had blocked the punch, his arm was numb from the shock. This is trouble. He looked at Nix in the distance with a serious gaze, thinking, no matter what, I have to figure out his identity today. I might not get another chance. Miller holstered his pistol, cracked his neck, and walked toward Nix. No one noticed that in this small forest in NYC, a battle transcending human limits was taking place. Evening, at the entrance of the Virtue Clinic. Dr. Rain, going out for a stroll again. Leo Evans waved to the guards. Yeah, sitting around doing nothing is boring. I'm just going for a walk. You guys don't need to follow. Mostly, he was craving food. He wanted to go get a jumbo inferno burrito. Recently, he had gotten familiar with these guards. As long as Leo said he was going for a walk, they wouldn't follow. Their mission was to protect the clinic and Sebastian Westcott. There was no order saying they had to protect Dr. Rain, and Rain had explicitly stated she wouldn't hold them responsible if anything happened. The guards were happy to oblige. It reduced their workload and increased their favorability toward Dr. Rain, especially after the scene where Rain confronted Leo Evans, or rather, the act they put on. She had completely won them over. If they could, they would have wanted to be Rain's personal guard detail. On the street, Leo walked while eating his burrito and texting David Evans. He told him to keep an eye on the Four Pillars movements regarding the Gideon Initiative. This wasn't difficult for David. After all, Silas Westcott had said that regarding the operation against the Gideons, the subsidiary families would be the main force. The Four Pillars were just the figureheads. So, keeping an eye on the subsidiaries for any anomalies was enough. I can't monitor the Four Pillars, but I can sure as hell monitor you guys. David Evans sent his men to blatantly stand watch at the gates of various subsidiary families. Even when recognized, the families couldn't do anything about this rogue behavior. What? I'm just sending people to watch you. What's the problem? We're enemies. Isn't it normal for me to monitor you? What's that? You want to attack my men? Fine. I'll drop everything and bring my whole crew to fight you right now. The subsidiary families were helpless. They really couldn't beat David's forces. They also felt wronged. If you're so tough, go monitor the 4 pillars. Why bully us? Soon, someone reported this to the 4 pillars. Silas Westcott and Otis Osborne personally came forward to tell David to withdraw his men. To this, David simply had someone deliver a message. I'll withdraw my foot from your ass. Once these words came out, Silas and Otis completely lost face. They wanted to fight David, but with the current unstable situation, they didn't want to start a war easily. But being insulted by David like that without retaliating was suffocating. So both sides sent messengers back and forth, engaging in a cursing match. David Evans, don't cross the line. I sent my guys out for a stroll. What business is it of you two? Is that a stroll? That's clearly surveillance. Why would I monitor them if I had nothing to do? I told you, just a stroll. Are you withdrawing your men or not? Withdraw my foot from your ass. Fuck you, David. Although they were cursing at each other, Silas and Otis began to sense something was wrong. What was David trying to do? What benefit did he get from monitoring the subsidiary families? They were paranoid, constantly guessing David's motives. But they never imagined that David did this to prevent them from targeting the Gideon family. After all, not even a day had passed since Silas proposed besieging the Gideons in that meeting. There were only a few people in that room. How could David know? It couldn't be Dr. Rain, right? Silas found the thought laughable. How could Rain be involved with David Evans? They just assumed David was plotting some other conspiracy. Just as Leo was preparing to go back to the clinic to sleep, he felt his phone vibrate. Old man Miller? I've already graduated. Why is he calling me? Leo pressed the answer button with a confused look. As soon as he put the phone to his ear, he heard Miller screaming. Now, get your ass over here and save your teacher. I'm being hunted by Nix. Leo was stunned, freezing in place. What the hell? Let me get this straight. My university professor, who should be in Ethelberg, is currently being hunted by the super variant the whole city of NYC is looking for, and he has time to call me for help? Is that it? Is this for real? Leo blinked and asked, Old man, did you forget to take your meds with your whiskey? I'll take your meds. Hurry up and save me. I'll explain when we meet. I'm at. Miller shouted an address not far from Leo. After that, Miller's tone hitched, and he cursed angrily. Damn it. How did it catch up again? Leo, hurry up. I can't hold on much longer. With that, Miller hung up. At this moment, Miller was as pathetic as he had been glorious before. He really hadn't expected Nix to have that kind of strength. After several clashes in the woods, Miller's condition was gradually declining, while Nix was fighting more fiercely. Moreover, no matter how he attacked, even stabbing deeply into Nix's body with a knife, the opponent's movements didn't slow down a bit. It was as if he felt no pain. Due to a mistake, Miller took a punch to the shoulder from Nix, and one arm was instantly useless. Realizing the situation was bad, Miller chose to flee immediately. However, Nix was relentless. Miller had no choice. Disregarding whether his identity would be exposed, he called Leo directly. He knew that, in NYC right now, the only person who might be able to contend with Nix was probably Leo. Ghost, I'm going to eat you. Nix's voice sounded behind him again. Miller couldn't help but speed up, running toward the address he gave Leo. Damn it, I really screwed up this time. Miller regretted it. He wanted to slap himself twice. Why did he have to follow them to NYC to watch the show? Watching was fine, but why did he have to satisfy his damn curiosity and see who Nix was? Now look, his life was on the line, and the psycho behind him kept shouting about eating him. If he could turn back time, Miller wouldn't have bought the plane ticket to NYC, even if it killed him. He would have stayed at Ethelberg University, living his life with only 2 or 3 classes a week and winter and summer vacations, far away from the world's troubles. After all, his tenure review was hopeless this year. He was fully embracing the quiet quitting lifestyle. NYC, Caldwell's Crossing. Adrian stood aside, turning the laptop towards Sterling and Conrad Caldwell, playing a video on the screen. Because it's a recovered video, it's very blurry. You can't see the face clearly. This is the limit of what I can do. Sterling and Conrad frowned, looking carefully at the screen. In the video, a massive, blurry figure lay on the ground as if dead. Sterling recognized at a glance that the figure should be an asset from one of the families. Judging by the time, it should be the day of the first asset riot. But who defeated this asset? Before he could finish thinking, Sterling's pupils contracted. In the video, a swaying figure walked slowly toward the asset. Then, the person laid down and bit viciously into the asset. If I'm not seeing things, is he? Eating the asset. Conrad's mouth twitched. That disgusting thing? How could he stomach it? Adrian said with a solemn gaze. If I'm not mistaken, that person was likely a homeless man who hadn't eaten for a long time. So, in that moment of extreme hunger, the asset became his only hope for survival. He ate the asset's flesh without hesitation, and then his body began to change. And I suspect the final product of this change is Nix. NYC, inside an abandoned factory. Bang! With a loud explosion, Miller was sent flying by a punch, smashing hard against the wall. Cough, cough, cough. Miller struggled to climb up from the ground, coughing incessantly, looking at Nix not far away. Damn, what a monster! He complained. After fighting Nix for so long, he realized something. The opponent had no concept of fatigue, like a ruthless fighting machine. I've never heard of an asset having this kind of combat power. Miller wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. In fact, with his physical fitness, he had the strength to kill an asset solo. But Nix in front of him was clearly beyond the scope of an asset. I'm not an asset. Nix's voice was hoarse. I am. A new human. Eating you will make me stronger. Hearing this, Miller frowned instantly. Eating me will make him stronger? What does that mean? Could this guy become stronger by eating people? Miller's eyes instantly became serious, whispering, no, the transaction he made with the Shang kid earlier was for live assets. If this guy can keep getting stronger by eating assets. Miller sighed deeply. This can't be described as getting stronger anymore. It should be called evolution. Hearing this, Nix paused. Evolution. Nix laughed sinisterly. I like that word. Yes, this is evolution. Ghost. Eating you allows me to evolve. Miller cursed loudly. Are you out of your damn mind? I'm not an asset. What use am I to you? However, Nix shook his head. No, you are. You have the same scent as them. Hearing this, Miller's eyes instantly became dark. He held a dagger in his right hand, stood up, stared at Nix, and said word by word, I'm different from them. I am human. Nix tilted his head and said in a low voice, If you really think you are human, why be a ghost? None of your damn business. Miller said disdainfully, I'll be whatever I want. Seeing this, Nix didn't want to talk nonsense anymore and walked slowly toward Miller. Whether you are human or ghost, I will enjoy your body thoroughly. As the words fell, Nix exerted force instantly, rushing toward Miller at extremely high speed. It's over. Ghost. Nix raised his fist and smashed it toward Miller's head. Bang! A loud noise. Miller collapsed weakly to the ground, letting out a long sigh of relief. You finally came, you little shit. In front of him, Leo caught Nix's fist with one hand. The fist wind blew the hair on his forehead, and his eyes shone with faint golden light. These golden eyes were the sign of Leo's skills fully activated. You're Nix. The corner of Leo's mouth curled up slightly, mocking. Wearing such a mask at night, aren't you afraid of scaring the kids? You, who are you? Nix's hoarse voice sounded. Yo, there's someone in NYC who doesn't know me. Did your village just get internet? Leo raised his foot and kicked toward Nix, shouting, Who's your daddy? Nix wanted to dodge the kick, but was surprised to find he couldn't. Leo held his fist tightly, unable to pull back even an inch. Bang! Leo kicked Nix hard in the chest. This kick held nothing back. It was full power. Nix flew backward instantly, smashing through several walls before stopping. Miller watched this scene, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly. Who the hell is the real monster here? After kicking, Leo turned his head and looked at Miller, who was sitting on the ground panting. Professor Miller, shouldn't you explain something to me? Leo smiled without warmth. Why is it that you, who should be teaching at the university right now, are here fighting that thing? Miller looked embarrassed. He scratched his head and laughed awkwardly. If I said, this is a new practical course for the school, would you believe it? Leo looked expressionless. What do you think? Miller fell helpless and had to say, Okay, when we get back, I'll tell you whatever you want to know, okay? That's more like it. Seeing Miller's good attitude in admitting his mistake, Leo reluctantly let him off. Clatter. The sound of falling rocks rang out nearby. Leo turned to look and saw Nix slowly crawling up from the pile of rubble. No way. He didn't die from that. His kick just now used full strength. Even a variant would have exploded. Nix could still get up, and it seemed he wasn't seriously injured. Go Leo. Kill it. Miller cheered from behind. Except for a strong body, feeling no pain, and fighting harder without fatigue, he's nothing to be afraid of. Hearing this, Leo's mouth twitched. Do you want to listen to what you were saying? Fighting harder without fatigue? I can do that too, but I can only be this fierce for 5 minutes tops. No choice. Gotta use manifest acquisition to end the fight. Leo reached out, preparing to steal Nix's head. The system's voice sounded in his mind. Host, please note, target life signs cannot be identified. Manifest acquisition skill may fail to determine success. Leo froze. No way, system. I have 1A skill, and you ban it. What do you mean cannot identify life signs? You can't mess with a plot like this. Garbage system. Never around when needed. Always useless when here. Leo cursed, then suddenly rushed toward Nyx. No matter what, fight for 2 minutes first. If it doesn't work, save 3 minutes to run away. Leo rushed in front of Nyx instantly, waving his fists and feet in a chaotic beatdown. Bang, bang, bang. He focused on the groin and other tricky parts, making even Miller unable to watch. Hitting there like that. How much must that hurt? Don't know if Nyx is male or female. Sounds male. Is he really okay getting hit there by Leo? Nyx wanted to resist, but Leo in full skill state was too fierce. Nyx could only try to block some attacks. He ate almost all the remaining damage. You don't have the scent of an asset. Why do you have this power? Nyx asked in confusion while defending. Leo beat him while mocking hacks, bro. Get good. Bang. Leo punched Nyx's mask hard. With a crack, Nyx flew backward again. Under Leo's feet lay the fragments of the ghost mask. NYC, inside Caldwell's Crossing. Adrian, can this video be clearer? Sterling pointed at the computer screen. At least enough to see Nyx's true face. I'm trying. Adrian typed incessantly on the computer. I'll try to match his face with the database and see if I can splice together a complete face. Sterling nodded and didn't rush him, waiting quietly. Aside, Conrad was still in disbelief. I really didn't expect Nyx to be born this way. Does that mean anyone can become Nyx just by eating an asset? Not necessarily. Sterling shook his head. The probability of this mutation should be extremely small. It's likely that only 1 out of 10,000 people could give birth to one. But it's hard to say if there are even 10,000 such assets in NYC right now. Moreover, I suspect the power gained this way is limited. Otherwise, Nyx wouldn't keep hiding. He's likely improving himself in some way. Improving? Conrad was surprised. How? I don't know about that. Sterling shook his head. After all, I'm not an asset, nor Nyx. Probably no one in the world can understand the extremely complex relationship between them. Sterling paused, then added, maybe there used to be someone. If he hadn't died. Who? Conrad asked. Dr. Quentin Marks. Hearing this name, the people in the room fell silent, feeling a bit sentimental. After a long while, Conrad sighed. Yeah, if it were him, he definitely could have done it. After all, he was the most brilliant mind at NYC University. What a pity. It was a pity Dr. Marks died in Westlake City, his name forever engraved on a tombstone in the Westlake University Cemetery. NYC University no longer had his name. Just then, Adrian spoke quietly. Duh. He turned the computer screen to everyone. This is the restored face. Sterling frowned, looking carefully at the face, feeling it was familiar. A moment later, his pupils contracted, and he lost his voice. How could it be him? Meanwhile, inside the abandoned factory, the ghost mask was shattered by Leo's punch, turning into fragments scattered on the ground. In the distance, Nyx slowly climbed up from the ground. Under the gaze of Leo and Miller, he raised his head. A face with a few traces of vicissitudes, wrinkles at the corners of the eyes showing the man's age, and black pupils occupying almost the entire eye. Miller frowned, carefully identifying Nyx's face, and his body suddenly trembled. Before he could speak, Nyx suddenly turned and ran, extremely fast, disappearing in no time. Leo frowned and wanted to chase. Wait, Leo! Miller shouted. Don't chase! Leo paused, looking back at Miller in confusion. Professor, you know him? Miller's expression suddenly became lonely, and he nodded slowly. Then he said in a low voice, let's find a safe place to talk. He hadn't expected that under Nyx's ghost mask would be that familiar face. Leo heard this and didn't ask more. He released his skill state and stepped forward to help Miller up. Miller waved his hand. I'm not so hurt, I can't walk. He stood up, touched his pockets, empty. Got a smoke? He asked Leo. Leo spread his hands, speechless. You're a teacher asking a student for cigarettes? Cut the crap. Do you have one? No, I have a lollipop. That works too. Strawberry or orange? Whatever. Strawberry. Leo took out a strawberry lollipop and handed it to Miller, then said, go to my clinic. It's safer there. Miller nodded without saying much, signaling Leo to lead the way. More than 10 minutes later, Leo had changed into Dr. Rain's face and brought Miller to the clinic. Dr. Rain, this is... The guard saw Rain coming back with a bloodied man and quickly stepped forward. Dr. Rain, are you okay? I'm fine. Leo waved his hand, and pointed to Miller wearing a mask. "This is my patient. I'm taking him to the room for treatment." Sebastian Westcott also saw this scene, stunned for a moment, then said, "Is there anything I can help with?" Leo looked at Sebastian and Marco, saying, "The treatment might take a long time. Don't let anyone else come in and disturb me." Sebastian nodded. "Okay, I can handle that small task." Seeing this, Leo nodded and took Miller into the room. After closing the door, Miller took off his mask and looked around. "Looks like you're doing well, Dr. Rain." Leo rolled his eyes at him, then leaned against the window, looking at Miller. "Stop spouting nonsense. Hurry up and confess." Miller said helplessly, "Why does it feel like you're interrogating a prisoner?" "Pretty much. You're no different from a prisoner in my eyes right now." I said, "You just told them I was your patient. Shouldn't you treat me first?" "Do you need treatment?" Leo mocked. "I noticed on the way here, your injuries heal automatically. They're almost gone." "Professor, what exactly is going on?" Miller heard this and sighed deeply, sitting by the bed. He took out the cigarettes he just bought at the convenience store from his pocket, put one in his mouth, lit it, and took a gentle puff. Miller spoke slowly. "Wait, let me think about where to start." Leo blinked. "First, explain your identity as the ghost." "That's easy to explain. I worked part-time as a hitman in NYC back in the day. After dying and coming back to life in an accident, I became the ghost." Leo heard this, his mouth twitching. "Be specific. I'm not in a hurry." Miller sighed helplessly. "All right, this has to start with Dr. Quentin Marks." Leo raised his eyebrows. Why was old man Marks involved again? Could it be that Miller also drank the gene serum and is an asset? Thinking this, the next second, Miller's words almost made Leo jump off the windowsill. Miller took a deep drag of the cigarette, then said word by word, "Strictly speaking, Quentin Marks was actually my senior peer." "What?" Leo screeched, his voice involuntarily raising a few decibels. "You're saying old man Marks was your senior?" Miller looked at Leo with disdain. "What's so surprising about that? I was a PhD at NYC University back then, too." "Okay. Kid, if you had bothered to look at the Ethelberg University website, you could have found my resume." Leo was genuinely surprised now. "Miller, a PhD? For real?" Put away that skeptical look. "Do you think any random stray cat or dog can become a professor at Ethelberg University?" Leo pointed at Miller, incredulous. "Wait, didn't you just say you were a hitman?" "I told you that was a side gig. Are you listening? What kind of decent person is a university PhD by day and a hitman by night?" "Me," Miller said as if it were obvious. "My major was human anatomy. Being a hitman is pretty relevant to the field, right?" Leo fell silent. Was this what they called career alignment? No, that's still not right. Leo shook his head, looking unconvinced. "You're clearly a math professor at Ethelberg University. I have a dual degree. Is that hard to understand?" Miller frowned, confused. "Did you think you were the only smart one? Back when I was studying, I won so many scholarships my hands got tired. I started as a TA teaching juniors and seniors in my sophomore year. With your placement test scores, I could have aced that in my sleep back then. If I got your scores, I would have died of shame." Leo was silent, even a little depressed. He had been struck by a blow. His academic grades, which he was proud of, were apparently trash in front of Miller. Professor Miller was terrifying. Undeniably, true geniuses exist in this world. Of course, the rich educational resources in NYC back then were also a reason. Leo spread his hands, making a please continue gesture. Miller snorted coldly, then said, "When I was still at NYC University, Quentin Marks was a year ahead of me. We happened to be assigned to the same advisor. So, he became my senior, responsible for researching gene technology. He was a genius, a true genius. Even I paled in comparison to him back then." Leo was speechless. Miller was this awesome, yet he couldn't compare to Marks? He considered himself an academic beast. But in front of these two, he suddenly felt like a raw recruit. Then, Miller continued, "We had a good relationship. He knew about my hitman job. I only killed bad people. Although he didn't approve, he didn't stop me. When we had free time, he would tell me about his great dream, that panacea. I told him my anatomical insights from killing. Although they were unrelated topics, we chatted every day. Until a few days before the Manhattan incident." Miller's tone changed, becoming low. At that time, news of Mark's gene serum leaked. The Gene Directorate was the only sovereign syndicate back then. They privately sent people to threaten Marks and his family, wanting Marks to hand over the results of the gene serum. After I found out, I made a prompt decision to assassinate the Gene Patriarch. You should have heard the result later. I failed. Although I retreated safely, I was hunted endlessly by several families. Later, I fell into a trap, hanging by a thread. While dying, I was saved by your parents. Saved by my parents? Leo couldn't help interrupting. When was this? You were still a kid then, probably in middle school. Miller paused and continued. Although your parents saved me, I was critically ill and beyond cure. I asked your parents to take me to Quentin Marks, preparing to say goodbye to him. Besides him, I couldn't think of anyone else to say goodbye to. I remember Marks seeing the dying me. After hesitating for a moment, he took out a vial of reagent from a freezer and forced it down my throat. Hearing this, Leo guessed the so-called reagent. Gene serum? I don't know if it counts. Marks called that thing number 0 gene serum. Miller said slowly, you should know some things. The so-called number 1 caused the Manhattan incident. Later, the Vance Dominion stole part of the formula and made number 2, creating those short-lived mercenaries and assassins on the Hero Index. Then came number 3, closest to the panacea, developed by Marks in Westlake City, which can pull people back from death's door. And the current assets and variants can be said to be accidental products of genetic mutations in this research direction by those families. Leo nodded. He had heard the general content from Julia Reed in Viridian City before. Immediately, he asked, then what about the number 0 you drank? Miller was silent for a while, then slowly said, number 0 was the result of Mark's preliminary research and the most incomplete product. You could say I am the first person in this world to drink the gene serum. According to Marks, after I drank number 0, I completely lost my vital signs. That is, I died. But unexpectedly to everyone, a few hours after they thought I was dead, I woke up. Not only did I wake up, but I also possessed incredibly powerful strength. But this power came with endless pain. It almost turned me into a real monster at one point. Fortunately, I overcame that pain with willpower and gradually mastered this power. That's how I became who I am today. This is what I always meant by coming back from the dead. Hearing Miller's words, the shock in Leo's heart could not subside for a long time. Everything Miller described was too bizarre, too fantasy-like. Can a dead person really come back to life? Or was Miller in a state of suspended animation? Suspended animation for several hours? Even with medical mastery, Leo couldn't understand this. This was completely beyond the scope of medicine. Later, Marks and I studied this matter for a long time. I realized for the first time that the gene serum Marks researched might really be something that could change the world. But at that stage, number 0 gene serum likely would have a devastating blow on the world. I knew very well that to become like me, one must experience that endless pain. Once you can't survive it, you become a monster. So I advised Marks to stop the research, but he didn't listen and insisted on continuing. After that, number 1 was born, triggering the subsequent Manhattan incident. Inside the room, Leo couldn't calm down after listening to Miller. Miller watched him silently without speaking. He knew Leo needed time to digest these things. After a long while, Leo couldn't help but say, so, Professor Miller, you aren't human? Cough, cough, cough. Leo's words made Miller choke on his own smoke. You brat, looking for a beating? You aren't human. But according to your own description, you drank serum, died, and came back to life. Leo spread his hands, helpless. How is that something a human can do? Miller's mouth twitched. Don't you think you're more abnormal compared to me? If I'm not human, you're even less human. Hearing this, Leo quickly waved his hands. Don't talk nonsense. I'm a bona fide human being. Can a normal human suppress nicks? That's just nicks being trash. Heh. Miller chuckled and didn't pursue it further. Since coming back from the dead, he understood that everyone has their own secrets. Although Leo's secret was a bit outrageous, who knew if even more outrageous things would happen in the future? It's like, in a normal person's view, humans have 2 hands. But suddenly one day, you see someone grow a 3rd hand. You think this person is abnormal. But then, you find more and more people growing a 3rd hand, and you're the only one who doesn't. Finally, you're out of place with most people around you. So, in that situation, who is the normal person? Existence is reasonable. Even if not understood, it must be accepted. Then what about Nix? Leo asked again. Why didn't you let me chase him just now? You recognize that face? Hearing Leo's question, Miller's expression suddenly became lonely, and he nodded slowly. I do know him. I didn't expect him to be alive, and to have become Nix. Who is he? Miller took a deep breath and said word by word. His name is President Morgan. He was once the president of NYC University. At the same time, he was the teacher of both me and Quentin Marks. Hearing this, Leo was shocked. The president of NYC University? How did he become the current Nix? Miller shook his head. How would I know? I only know that during the Manhattan incident, NYC University was affected with countless casualties. I wanted to rush to save President Morgan at that time, but when I arrived at the school, there was no trace of him. Many said he was dead. I didn't expect to meet again in this way. Leo couldn't help saying, "He is your teacher, yet he wants to kill you. Eat you. That's not strange." Miller chuckled lightly. No relationship is immutable, especially after a huge upheaval. A person's temperament changing drastically isn't weird at all. Years of sisterhood can turn into enmity over a snide comment behind someone's back. Even blood brothers can stop talking to each other forever over a few $1,000s. Not to mention lovers. From school uniforms to wedding dresses, ending in cheating after 10 years of marriage is common. Miller sighed as he took a drag of his cigarette. You can't say who is right or wrong. It's just human nature. Leo listened, a thoughtful look in his eyes, echoing Miller's words in his mind. After a long time, he asked again, "Then if Nix finds you again, what will you do?" "What else can I do? Call you for help." Miller smiled bitterly. "I can't beat him, and I can't just stand there and let him eat me. What if you have the ability to kill him?" "Then I won't kill him," Miller said without hesitation. "Morgan killing me, for whatever reason, is his own decision. But if I have to kill him, I can't do it. Mars couldn't do it either." Miller's tone was solemn. "He's our teacher, our mentor." Leo nodded. "Got it. So I need to be the bad guy, right?" Those capable should do more work." Miller grinned mischievously. "That's the teacher who taught me for years. How could I bear to lay a hand on him?" Leo rolled his eyes at Miller. He bet Miller was lying. If it really came to a crisis, if Miller still didn't act, Leo would take his own head off and kick it like a ball. "So what are your plans next?" Leo thought for a moment and whispered, "It's dangerous outside. Why don't you stay in my clinic?" Usually, he could serve as a free bodyguard. Old man Miller's strength was simply that of a super bodyguard. He wouldn't even flinch meeting a variant. Except for Nix and himself, Miller should be invincible in NYC. Such talent must be kept to shine here. It couldn't be wasted in a place like Ethelberg University, idling away time. Miller glanced at Leo, instantly understanding what the kid meant, and said grumpily, "Forget it. I won't work for you." "Work? Impossible. Never in this life." "Old man." Leo frowned, his tone slightly blaming. "How can you call it working? That's us joining hands to create a beautiful new future, contributing our own strength to the beautiful development of NYC. See the sign on my door? Virtue Clinic. What a name, full of love and warmth. Do you really want to waste your life?" "Yeah, I just want to waste my life." Miller smoked, looking listless. "Do you take me for those brainless college freshmen? You're trying to use the lines I used to gaslight students to gaslight me. I paid back the kindness I owed your parents in Ethelberg." Seeing Miller being so impervious, Leo said directly, "Then what about the kindness of me saving you just now?" Noted in my heart. The teacher will always be grateful for a student like you." Miller said heartlessly, showing no gratitude on his face at all. Like a slippery eel. Seeing this, Leo couldn't handle Miller. He didn't expect the guy's skin to be so thick. No wonder the ghost was hated by everyone in NYC back then, like a rat crossing the street. This shameless virtue was probably the main reason, right? "All right, I've said what needed to be said. I have things to do, so I'll leave first." Miller stubbed out the cigarette, but turned and was about to leave. Suddenly he paused, walked back, and extended a hand in front of Leo. "Now, what do you mean? Teacher is short on cash recently. Support me a little." "Get out." Inside the Virtue Clinic, Sebastian Westcott and Marco sat at the counter, looking at Leo's room with puzzled expressions. "Strange, Dr. Rain is treating someone today, but there are no screams." Sebastian wondered. "It's so quiet. I'm actually not used to it. She didn't kill the guy and is now cleaning up the crime scene, right?" Marco rolled his eyes at Sebastian. "Do you think everyone is like you, unable to accept a little pain?" Now familiar with Sebastian, Marco realized this Westcott master had no arrogant airs, so he stopped speaking politely. "A little pain?" Sebastian was instantly unconvinced, staring wide-eyed. "Do you know what that experience was like? I almost wanted to die, you know." "I know. I heard you screaming." "You, forget it. This young master won't stoop to your level." After speaking, Sebastian checked the time, consciously walked to the side, picked up a dumbbell, and started doing anaerobic exercises. The guards shook their heads in emotion seeing this. The young master had really grown. Just then, footsteps approached. Everyone looked outside the clinic and saw two figures slowly walking toward them. Meanwhile, in Leo's room, "I am your teacher. I put so much effort into cultivating you. Now, you won't even give me $1 million? Leo, you have no heart. You have no heart." Facing Miller's accusation, Leo returned a middle finger. $100 would be fine, But Miller opened his mouth asking for $1 million. What did he think this place was? An ATM? What teacher asks a student for money and asks for $1 million right off the bat? You graduated long ago. You're not my student. $100 max. Not a penny more. Don't be ridiculous. $100 is gone in 2 packs of smokes. It's not like I won't pay you back. What will you pay me back with? Your salary of a few thousand a month at Ethelberg University. Don't be so limited in your thinking. Worst case, I go back to my old trade, visit the major syndicates, and swipe some stuff. Then just go steal it. Why borrow from me? You don't understand. It's a harmonious society now. Don't do illegal things if you can avoid it. Moreover, I'm a glorious people's teacher. I must set an example. Leo was speechless. Under Miller's urging, he reluctantly took out a bank card. Let's be clear first. There's interest. Leo, you disappoint me too much. Discussing these things with your teacher? Is my character so unworthy of your trust? Honestly, your character is hard for me to trust. Leo's mouth twitched as he said slowly. After all, judging from your past deeds, you've never done anything humane. Miller sneered, snatching the bank card from Leo's hand. As if you've ever done anything humane. With that, he waved the bank card and said coolly, leaving now. I'll call you if I need anything. Wait, Leo suddenly stopped Miller, frowning at the door. What's wrong? Miller asked confusedly. Don't go out yet. Someone seems to be here. Fine, I'll take the window. Miller flipped out the window without a second thought. Leo was speechless. It was only because the guard were attracted by the situation inside the clinic. Otherwise, Miller flipping out the window would definitely be seen as a suspicious person, causing a disturbance. Leo's ears moved, his gaze looking at the door, seeming to penetrate it and see the situation outside. Why did these 2 guys run over here? Spencer Shong? Oliver Osborne? Sebastian looked at the 2 in front of him, frowning. What are you doing here? Looking for you, of course. Spencer chuckled lightly, looking at the dumbbell in Sebastian's hand, looking around and mocking. I didn't expect the dignified eldest young master of the Westcott dynasty to be a shop assistant in this broken little clinic. If word gets out, who knows how many people will laugh their heads off. Hearing this, Sebastian clenched his fists, gritting his teeth. I asked what you were doing here. Of course I have business with you. Spencer finished speaking, looked at the Westcott guards around, and said indifferently, dismiss them first. I need a quiet environment. Why should I listen to you? You don't have to withdraw them. But if they hear what I'm about to say next, I can't guarantee they'll live through today. With that, Spencer and Oliver found seats and sat down, crossing their legs, looking relaxed. Although they wanted to trade with Nix, once the matter was exposed, both would face punishment from their families. At this time, if someone could step forward and take all the blame, they would be much more relaxed. And the person to take the blame must have status and be easy to control. After thinking about it, Spencer and Oliver thought of Sebastian Westcott, the waste young master of the Westcott family. So, they quickly inquired about Sebastian's news and came to the clinic. Hearing Spencer's words, Sebastian's face instantly darkened. Spencer, are you threatening me? Spencer shook his head. Hardly a threat. I said, listening to what I want to discuss won't do them any good. Oomph. I'd like to hear what you plan to say. Sebastian snorted coldly and said to the guards around, you all withdraw. No one is allowed to enter without my permission. Then, he said to Marco, you go out too. These 2 are trouble. Marco glanced at him, didn't speak, and walked silently out of the clinic. After all, young Master Leo was still there. What did he have to worry about? He didn't even bother to ask their identities. In Leo's eyes, they were all the same anyway. After everyone evacuated, only Sebastian, Spencer, and Oliver remained in the clinic. And Leo, hiding in the room, wanting to see the situation. Speak. What is it? Sebastian said in a low voice. Spencer looked at him and said directly, Sebastian, do you want eternal life? Sebastian frowned. Eternal life? What do you mean? Immediately, Spencer held nothing back, telling Sebastian everything about the transaction with Nix in the woods. Sebastian, Nix's blood not only grants eternal life, but also gives you powerful strength. You don't need to work so hard anymore. You can easily get rid of your identity as a useless young master. Want to join us for a gamble? Spencer finished speaking, looking at Sebastian with anticipation, waiting for his reply. Inside the room, Leo leaned against the door frame, taking in everything Spencer said. Tisk, these 2 have some nerve. Drinking blood. Forget genetic mutation, they're talking eternal life. That idiot Sebastian won't agree in a moment of heated passion, will he? Leo whispered softly, looking like a spectator at a show. He wouldn't intervene until things got out of control. Outside, Spencer looked at Sebastian expectantly. How about it? Want to work with us? This might be your only chance to change yourself. I only came to find you for the sake of us playing together since childhood. You should consider it carefully. No need to consider. Sebastian shook his head and said directly, I won't do this. As soon as this was said, Spencer and Oliver were stunned for a moment. Then their faces darkened. Spencer stood up and walked in front of Sebastian. What did you just say? Say it again. I didn't hear clearly. I said I won't. Smack. Before Sebastian could finish, Spencer slapped him hard across the face. A handprint appeared instantly. I'm asking you one more time. What did you just say? Spencer looked at Sebastian with incredibly sinister eyes, saying word by word, Sebastian, don't be ungrateful. Calling you young Master Westcott. Do you really think you can sit as an equal with us? For a waste like you, even if I kill you, nothing big will happen. Do you believe that? Sebastian covered his face, standing silently in place, whispering, I believe it. Even if Spencer killed him right now, at most Patriarch Shang would apologize to Silas Westcott with a gift. If the gift was precious enough, Silas might even feel he profited, because Silas Westcott simply didn't care about his son. Growing up, Sebastian was bullied by Spencer and his group. Did Silas really not know anything? If, at that time, as a father, as the head of the Westcott dynasty, he had stood up and scolded them even once, would the current Spencer dare to humiliate Sebastian so arrogantly? Some things were irretrievable from childhood. Sebastian said plainly, then kill me here. As you said, I am a waste. Not many people will care if I die. Rather than be your puppet, I prefer to die here. Spencer heard this, frowned, and cursed. Sebastian, are you insane? He met Sebastian's eyes. Sebastian's eyes were calm as water, as if he didn't care about life and death anymore. Spencer felt for the first time that this Westcott young master had become somewhat different. Calm down, both of you. Let's sit down and discuss if there are any issues. Oliver stood up, playing the peacemaker. Sebastian glanced at him. Since childhood, this person always looked like a nice guy, but secretly he was no better than Spencer. How about this, Sebastian? Take your time to consider this matter. Giving us an answer tomorrow is fine too. Oliver walked up, smiling, patting Sebastian's shoulder. Think it over carefully. I know you're not afraid of death, but I also know you value loyalty the most. Those guards outside have been with you for quite a few years, right? You aren't afraid of death, but what about them? Hearing this, Sebastian's pupils contracted, staring at Oliver. You dare. Guess if I dare. Bang! Sebastian swung his fist with all his might, punching Oliver hard in the face. Arg! Oliver was dazed by the punch. Then Sebastian's voice sounded again. I warn you too. Come at me if you have the guts. Don't use those dirty tricks. Sebastian glared wide-eyed. My life is cheap. Piss me off, and I'll take either one of you down with me. It'll be worth it. Oliver's lip was broken by that punch. He stood up gloomily, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth with his hand. Fine, Sebastian. You've grown some balls. Spencer, looks like we haven't seen Sebastian for a long time, and this guy has somewhat forgotten our teachings. Spencer nodded and rubbed his fist with Oliver, walking toward Sebastian. Thud, thud, thud. The two grabbed Sebastian and beat him indiscriminately. Their strikes were ruthless, holding nothing back. Sebastian was no match for the two of them, so he had to protect his head, lying on the ground, taking the beating passively. You think you're capable now? Daring to fight back against us now? We must teach you a lesson this time. Did you really think lifting a broken dumbbell for a few days could change everything? Inside the room, Leo crossed his arms, expressionless. If Sebastian screamed or called for help even once, he would go out to save him. But Sebastian didn't. The Westcott young master who used to be most afraid of pain didn't make a sound now. Perhaps he had screamed before, only to find it useless. After beating him for several minutes, Spencer and Oliver finally stopped, panting slightly. Looking at Sebastian curled up on the ground, Spencer snorted coldly. This will help you remember. We'll come again tomorrow. With that, they kicked Sebastian hard again, picked up their jackets, and walked slowly out of the clinic. Young master, are you okay? Don't come in. Sebastian lay on the ground, gritting his teeth tightly. Stand at the door. Don't come in. He didn't want the guards to see him like this. Hearing this, although the guards didn't know what happened inside, they had to stand obediently at the door. Creak! Just then, the door opened, and Leo walked out of the room. Sebastian looked up slowly, face bruised and swollen, looking at Dr. Rain, and said words that surprised even Leo. Dr. Rain, no one disturbed you, right? You didn't call for help just now because you were afraid of disturbing me. I promised you I wouldn't let anyone disturb you. Then you should have sewn their mouths shut too. I am sorry. What is there to apologize for? Leo said slowly. Can you stand up? Hearing this, Sebastian propped himself up with his hands, standing up unsteadily. Leo nodded, seeing this. All right, come in with me. Sebastian followed Leo into the room and lay on that cold sickbed. Leo deftly gave him a few acupuncture needles, then said, "The swelling will go down in a while. Sleep here tonight. I'll explain to the guards at the door for you." "Thank you." Sebastian paused, then repeated, "Really? Thank you, Dr. Rain." Leo was silent for a long time, then said, "I'm not much older than you. If you don't mind, call me brother." Sebastian was stunned, then squeezed out a smile, calling out, "Brother." Creak. Leo pushed open the main door of the clinic. The guards were already standing outside. Seeing the door open, they looked inside with worried faces. "Where's the young master?" "Dr. Rain, where did the young master go?" Leo put his index finger to his lips, making a should gesture, signaling them to be quieter. "Just finished acupuncture for your young master. He should be asleep in the room now, so don't disturb him. Let him sleep for a while." Hearing Dr. Rain's words, everyone relaxed a lot. Immediately, Leo instructed Marco to watch the shop well. He was going out to buy an Inferno burrito. The guard were long accustomed to this. Dr. Rain often liked to go out for a stroll in the middle of the night. Before leaving, Leo quietly asked Marco which direction Spencer and Oliver left in. Marco pointed the way knowingly. Leo scanned a shared e-scooter and drove in that direction. On a certain street, a black sedan was speeding. Spencer sat in the driver's seat, holding the steering wheel with one hand, lighting a cigarette with his right, occasionally glancing at Oliver next to him. "It really kills me. You actually got punched by that way, Sebastian. You've been laughing the whole way. Haven't laughed enough yet." Oliver touched the broken skin at the corner of his mouth, still feeling pain, hissing softly. "I'm just amazed. I didn't expect that way Sebastian to strike directly without even saying hello." Oliver said viciously, "No, we have to beat him up again tomorrow. Otherwise, I won't be relieved." Spencer glanced at him and said lightly, "Don't forget the main business. We have to trade with Nix the day after tomorrow. 1 asset for 1 drop of blood. The two of us need 2 assets. Where do we get them?" Oliver frowned. "How would I know where to get them? You spoke so confidently back then. I thought you had a way. Getting 2 assets isn't hard. The hard part is not being discovered by the family." Spencer's gaze was solemn. "And Nix wants live human assets. Those are the hardest to control, like wild beasts. We can't let the family detect it, so we can only start with those small families. Subsidiary families won't do. There's a risk of exposure. Worst case, we buy them. Dare they not sell?" Oliver nodded, hearing this. "True. This isn't difficult for us. The key is Nix's blood. That stuff. Do you really dare to drink it?" "What's there not to dare?" Spencer asked back. "Can 1 drop of blood kill us? Worst case, we exchange for 3 drops. Let Sebastian try it first. If there's no problem, we drink." "Ha ha ha. Good idea. Let's do that." Soon, the sedan stopped in front of a restaurant. Oliver looked up. "Whoa, the Gilded Tower. You're treating me to eat here. Just eat. I specially asked the boss to save a private room." Spencer laughed and cursed, then unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of the car with Oliver, casually throwing the car keys to the lobby manager. "Park the car for me." "Yes, young Master Shang." Not far away, a beautiful waitress walked over with a sweet smile toward the two. "Young Master Shang, young Master Osborne, the private room you reserved is on the top floor. Please follow me." With that, she took the two into the elevator. Inside the elevator, Oliver looked at the hot waitress and joked, "Haven't seen you before." "New." "Yes, I just started not long ago." "What's your name?" "The 2 young masters can call me Amber." "Amber." Oliver stepped forward with an evil smile, hugging Amber's waist, whispering in her ear, "Why don't you sit next to me later and pour wine for me?" Amber stiffened, squeezing out a smile. "It's my honor." Spencer put his hands in his pockets, watching this scene silently from behind, shaking his head. Looks like tonight, another girl will suffer at the hands of Oliver the thief. Meanwhile, at the entrance of the Gilded Tower restaurant, Leo rode the small e-scooter here. After leaving, Leo told David Evans the license plate number Marco gave him, asking him to help track Spencer and Oliver. "Just contact Quinn Monroe for trivial matters like this in the future. Don't call me for every damn thing. I'm busy." That was how David Evans answered Leo. If he hadn't heard the rustling sound of mahjong tiles on the other end, Leo would have almost believed it. The Gilded Tower. Why is this restaurant name so tacky? Leo complained silently, then took out his phone and cursed again. What trash restaurant? Doesn't even have parking for shared scooters. Leo couldn't be bothered to look for a parking spot anymore. He just parked right there, paying a few $dozen in dispatch fees. Today was different from the past. He was now a walking 500 million, equivalent to 50 reigns, with a bank card worth tens of millions in his pocket. Just a few $dozen in dispatch fees, as if he couldn't afford it. Not far away, the lobby manager had just parked Spencer's car. Coming back, he saw Leo getting off a shared e-scooter and walking straight toward them. He frowned, stepped forward, and reached out. "Sorry, sir. Do you have a reservation?" "No." Leo asked directly. "What? Can't enter without a reservation." The lobby manager's face fell instantly, impatient. "We don't accept guests without reservations. Hurry up and leave." Leo stood in place and said lightly, "Isn't this a restaurant? I'm hungry and came to eat. If you don't serve me, I'll call the police." Hearing this, the lobby manager's eyes widened. "Call the police? Are you sick? We just won't serve you. Why call the police? I suspect you're doing some shady business in there." Hearing this, the lobby manager's face darkened instantly. "Are you here to cause trouble?" Then he directly called a few security guards over the walkie-talkie. Several burly men in uniforms instantly ran behind him. The lobby manager pointed at Leo. "Take this kid to the basement, check his identity, and teach him a lesson." "Wait." Leo reached out, stopping them, and said directly, "Forget it. I'll be straight with you. Young Master Shang, call me here." "Young Master Shang?" The lobby manager froze, then said, "Who are you? Any proof?" "Proof? For a tiny manager like you, I need to show proof." Leo put his hands in his pockets, domineering. "I won't get proof. Dare to touch me. As long as you dare to touch a single finger of mine, young Master Shang and Osborne will come down and make you regret it for the rest of your life." At the entrance of the Gilded Tower, the lobby manager was uncertain hearing Leo's words. He was afraid this pretty boy in front of him really had a background and knew Spencer Shang. After all, Spencer and Oliver had just gone upstairs, and this person was certain they were inside the Gilded Tower. Could this kid really have some background? Thinking of this, the lobby manager quickly revealed a smile, cautious. "Sir, how about you say a name, and I send someone to notify young Master Shang. If you really know each other, young Master Shang should let you go up." Hearing this, Leo looked displeased. "Why are you dragging your feet? For such a small matter, you need to announce it? You can't afford to offend Spencer Shang. Do you think you can afford to offend me?" The lobby manager was unmoved, insisting, and even sent someone to notify Spencer. Seeing this, Leo sighed. "I didn't want to get physical with you guys. I just wanted to find those two and beat them up. Just let me go up. Why ask for trouble?" Hearing this, the lobby manager frowned instantly, with an expression of as expected. "You really are here to cause trouble." He waved his hand, snorting coldly. "You have some nerve, looking for trouble here. You guys go together, take him to the basement, break his legs, and let young Master Shang deal with him." Several burly men responded and stepped forward, surrounding Leo. Then, they collapsed to the ground. The lobby manager was stunned, rubbing his eyes, suspecting he was dreaming. "Wait, what just happened? I didn't blink. How did they all fall down?" "Art, my manager, he's tough." One of the security guards groaned. The lobby manager glared at him. "No shit, I can see we kicked an iron plate. Friend, I wonder where the Gilded Tower offended you." The lobby manager swallowed, his tone softening. "Maybe there is some misunderstanding between us. Calm down first." "Calm down." Leo moved his wrist, puzzled. "Do I look uncalm? This has nothing to do with your Gilded Tower. Cut the crap. Take me to find Spencer Shang. Or else, I'll blow up this Gilded Tower," Leo said viciously. Anyway, he hadn't played with bombs for a long time. Seeing this manager looking like a hypocrite, he guessed this restaurant wasn't a proper place either. Blowing it up could count as reducing unnecessary buildings for the construction of a beautiful NYC. Hearing this, the lobby manager trembled all over, quickly saying, "Brother, don't be impulsive. I'll take you up." He recognized the situation clearly. The person in front of him probably had a feud with Spencer Shang, and he wasn't someone a small manager like him could afford to offend. Better to take him to Spencer and let them fight it out. Should have done that earlier. Leo clapped his hands, impatient. "Waste of my time." The lobby manager bowed his head with a smile, cursing inwardly. "Fuck, you have this capability, daring to pick a fight with Spencer Shang, yet you ride a shared bike? If you had driven a proper four-wheeler, I wouldn't have underestimated you." The lobby manager reflected secretly. He had been comfortable in this position for too long, so much so that he forgot to take off his colored glasses. This one today was okay, didn't seem to hold a grudge. If he met someone petty one day, he might be finished. Need to be more cautious in the future. Thinking this, the lobby manager led Leo toward the elevator. "Manager." Suddenly a girl walked over, looking worriedly at the lobby manager. "Amber hasn't come down since taking young Master Shang up just now. She still has some work unfinished." Before the girl finished, the lobby manager said directly, "You finish her work for her. She has other temporary work upstairs." With that, he pressed the elevator button directly, and the elevator door closed. Seeing this, a look of despair appeared on the girl's face. Working here, she naturally knew what the temporary work the manager spoke of meant. It was nothing more than being fancied by those rich young masters and then played with wantonly. Such things were common in the Gilded Tower. But usually, the waitresses on the top floor were responsible for this. Amber was just an ordinary waitress on the first floor. Seeing this, standing in the elevator, Leo mocked, "Mr. Manager, you don't care about this kind of thing? Or is it tacitly approved? Did you get the girl's consent?" Hearing this, the lobby manager smiled awkwardly. "Sir, what do you mean? I don't quite understand." Click. The red Manjashaka pistol was pressed against the back of the manager's head. Leo looked indifferent. "Do you understand now?" Feeling the cold touch, seeing his situation clearly through the mirror in the elevator, the manager was instantly scared weak in the legs, almost kneeling. Don't shoot. I understand everything." The manager trembled. "Some of those girls are voluntary, some are forced, but afterwards we give them generous compensation, and they accept it happily." "What if they don't accept your so-called compensation?" This. 3, 2. Don't, I'll talk. If they don't accept the compensation and insist on causing trouble, those rich and powerful people will dispose of them without a trace. Did you participate? Yes, but not just me. People above my level are basically involved. Hearing this, a sharp light flashed in Leo's eyes. How long has this been going on? I don't know either. I only came here to work 5 years ago. I only know such things existed when I came here. The Gilded Tower. Which family's property is it? It's the M.O. Group. The M.O. Group? Leo raised his eyebrows. He remembered that Miles M.O., who slipped away secretly at the Gideon house, seemed to be from the M.O. family. Originally, they behaved themselves and didn't take the initiative to trouble Leo, so Leo couldn't be bothered to trouble them. But now, he felt like looking for trouble with them. Can I open the door now?" The manager asked cautiously. This elevator was modified. Once it reached the top floor, the elevator wouldn't open without swiping a card. This was also a means to protect those dignitaries. Leo nodded and asked, "Those eating on this top floor are all dignitaries of those big families, right?" The manager nodded slightly. "Yes, ordinary people are not qualified to come to the top floor." "Fine, swipe the card to open the door." The manager took a card from his pocket and swiped it on the reader. With a ding, the elevator door opened slowly. Just as the manager breathed a sigh of relief, Leo slowly pulled the trigger. Bang! The manager's eyes widened, face full of disbelief, falling straight forward. Blood splattered around. The gunshot attracted the attention of many waiters. When they looked over, they all screamed in unison. Leo stepped over the manager's corpse, whispering softly, "People whose souls are rotten to the core shouldn't live to waste air."